Good morning. Starting a little bit early here, mostly because I finished my coffee and I was just kind of sitting there. My husband's like, you should just stream now. And I'm like, that's what we're doing. It's always fun coming here and seeing all the chat already filling up though. Hello to Blaze and hello to Wolf. Like always, it seems like audio balances can be a little different every time. So if you guys need to hear something louder or quieter, just let me know. It's really easy to change on my side. All right, that poll is up right now. Make sure you vote for that. Looks like the Jester Rogue Construct is in the lead. That's a brand new model we'll be starting. There's also a new donation little thing I have. I have it where it's a stream hijack. So if your model doesn't win the poll, you can hijack the stream and pick it to whatever model in the poll that you want. Just a fun thing. Wolf says, you are quiet. Maybe I should just yell. No, I'm just kidding. I'm that kind of person where even if I won the lottery, I don't have big reactions. I've never been super loud. All right. All right, I'm gonna bump this up. I wonder if I can bring this down too. If the mic is closer to my face, I feel like that also does the same thing. You know what? I'm actually not gonna pull on this. I'm gonna be smart. There we go. Leave that alone. Done one adjustment. And bumping up that mic as well. All right, I bumped up it quite a bit. If it's too loud now, just let me know. And then Blaze asks, hey, did you finish the wolf's feet? You left off there. I did. That model is completely all done and post-processed. Wolf said the mic closer helped. Oh, good. I kind of just more pointed it towards me. Hey, Miguel's here. Hey, Miguel. All right. And then there is music in the background. If it's super quiet, that's fine. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Good luck on your stream today, Bud. You're so sweet. I feel very lucky to have you as a friend. I do. And then, of course, I love all the rest of you guys, too. Aloha's here. I saw you submit your assignment, Aloha. I'm really, really excited to see what you did. All right, that poll is still rolling. I'm going to give that about another minute or so, and then we'll get started, okay? Blaze says nice. Good. And yeah, welcome to the tavern. So, Aloha, I talked to my husband, Ricky, about your tavern idea and just like the fantasy foresty vibe here. And he's actually right now designing a stream overlay to like fit, not just in my box, but like I can't go outside my box. I feel very contained in my stream box here. But like the whole live stream will have a border. We're going to play with some themes here. Well, Taverb. Yeah, I don't think I changed the Discord, so I've still kept it Taverb. And then Miguel says, I mean, I don't mind, but I don't know how to turn off the in-snap. In-snap? Oh, I'm too lame to know what that is. Blaze says I already voted. Very good. They'll probably get rolling pretty soon here. Let's go. Good. All right, I'm gonna start my timer so I don't get too lost over here. And I'm gonna make me small. Now I'm small. Alrighty, and we'll kind of just start getting rolling, okay? I'm gonna let the poll continue to roll, even though you guys, I'm gonna let it roll just in case if someone joins later and they want to pivot. It's kind of like a menu to pick from, and then I know what just winning overall interest. So yeah. Miguel says, oh, it's a joke, don't mind me. No, you're fine. I just, my coffee's just kicking in. Blaze says, did Ricky tell you I've been watching your old videos? Yeah, he did. You know, I hope you're getting a lot out of him. I always try my best, but I've definitely improved a lot in the last year or so. Some of those are pretty old. Miguel, oh, there's a poll. Oh, Miguel's working on an Owlin Wizard. Oh, that sounds awesome. What are you doing today? Probably the Jester Rogue Construct, but I'm going to do all the models in the poll at some point. Taylor's here. Hey. Aloha says, I joined the community a few months ago now. Stopped lurking about 2 months ago, and the tavern vibe, I'm happy it caught on. Yeah, me too. All right. Blaze says, I have a question. You explained in the video about the eyes to foot to determine the model height for 28mm. You are correct. I measure that in Mesh Mixer if that's what you're about to ask. All right. Jester is winning. Oh, how do you determine the weapon size of it properly? Well, some of it's stylistic. So you have games like Monster Hunter where or like certain, like a lot of anime where the weapons are huge and oversized. For the most part, I just eyeball it. I just do what looks good in my opinion. And there's a generally standard size for like broadswords versus great swords being larger. Pistols are usually a general, hand size versus like a shotgun. So some of it's personal experience. Also, I bulk things up just to make them easier to print. Good question. And Wolf says, yeah, I eyeball it, I think. Accurate. All right, we're gonna do this Jester construct. Let's talk about it. So, let me get a couple things going here. Perfect. All right, this is my Patreon. This is what we're doing. People join. If you're in Legendary tier, they can make a request every month. I got a board down here, and that's what's happening. So today we're working on a request from someone in my Legendary tier on Patreon. If you want to make a request, y'all know where to go. Boop. All right, so that's what's happening. That's where it's coming from. Everything I do here is from support on there. And what's really cool is some of my supporters get real zealous and actually draw little sketches for me. So this is like this creepy jester rogue girl we're working on here. And I condensed their request just to like the punchlines. These are all the things I want to make sure, like my shopping list, so to speak, that we're going to make sure in this design. So it's going to be a wind-up key on the back, a rope dart, multiple knives in the jester cap. The whole outfit's gonna be asymmetrical, and then plenty of grooves where all of her parts meet, meaning like her shoulder joint to her elbow joint, because she's not human, she's a construct. So yeah, that's what we're doing. You don't have to submit a drawing. I know a lot of y'all are like, I'm not an artist, I'm not gonna do that. Some people are really creative and they just go above and beyond, but you could just be like, I want a jester, and that's totally fine. All right, you guys got any questions? Let me know. Aloha says, I love jesters. I can't wait. I've got my popcorn blankets ready. Absolutely. Yeah, get snacks, settle in. Let's get started, okay? Alrighty. Blaze says, a construct is like a golem, right? Kinda, yeah. Think of it more like C-3PO from Star Wars, something that's been like assembled, almost more sci-fi-esque. And then Chandler says, oh, I missed the eye to foot advice. Any idea what you said roughly so I can find it in the video? Oh, how about I just repeat myself? I don't mind. So to measure the eye to foot, I actually use a software called Mesh Mixer, which is kind of ancient, or you can eyeball it. But essentially I got my little dude here, right? I can go to, I believe it's analysis, yeah, and measure. And I can click on his foot, and I can draw up to his eyeball. And right here I see that's 29 millimeter, 29.6. It's about rough. So it's a little I buffed it up a little bit because this model has a little tiny head. I don't know why his head came out so small. But there you go, that's how I measure it. But you notice if I go from his bottom of his foot to top of his head, it's actually closer to 32, which is pretty standard. So yeah, that's how I scale it there. And as far as like how I fit weapons and stuff, it's just by eyeballing it or what style I'm going for. I did like a whole Monster Hunter series, so those ones, the weapons were much larger. I hope that helps. All right, so we're gonna be working on this construct, which means we don't need this dude hanging out back here. And we are all set up in our beginning ZPR. So I have this library I've created. Here are all these different pieces we're gonna draw from. Since this is a Jester Rogue, and I actually did a Jester King recently, I'll have a couple of things I'll be able to reuse, but a lot of it's going to be from scratch because the Jester King was a man, and this is going to be more of like a slender woman that's not even human. So there's quite a few changes here. All right, let's go ahead and get started on this, shall we? I'm going to take this body and drop the resolution, so you'll notice this is the high res and this is the low. I also am going to throw a stamp up here before we get too far, so that way you guys can see the model change on the fly. She's gonna have a mask, but I'll leave her eyebrows and eyelashes just for the sake of not looking too creepy. And we're gonna start piecing together things that are gonna be helpful for my asset library, even though we're gonna be changing quite a bit. It looks like she has 2 low pigtails in the drawing that was provided to me, and I don't think I actually have any pigtails, interestingly enough. I can take this hairstyle and modify it though to be pigtails, or this one since there's a bun. So we'll do a combo of these 2 hairstyles, and you guys can kind of start to see the magic of this asset library. I'm opening up to the idea of sharing my ZPR here with my students. They're my mentorship program. I've been worried about sharing it in the past. I don't know why. I just want to make sure my students are still trying to do things on their own too. But I think that's up for them to decide. I think this would be a really lovely tool to share. So just letting you guys know that's rattling around in my head. If I have some students that are like, oh my goodness, I'd love to play with your ZPR and build my own stuff, let me know and I'll probably share that sooner than later with y'all. Alrighty, so we're kind of just throwing this hairstyle on our head. Nothing too picky because we're just gonna be kit bashing essentially right now. Let me see, let me skim through here really quick. Wolf says, there are a lot of different ways to make a construct, but to boil it down, it would be a mechanically magical being in humanoid form. Accurate. Blaze says, he designed all the clothing parts ahead of time. Kind of. It's essentially like, actually no, I don't design ahead of time in that sense. Just whenever I create characters and I create a piece that I really like, I will save it to maybe use later. So everything you see in here was actually specifically designed for a character in the past. You could actually point to stuff on the screen or describe it in the chat, and I can tell you where that came from. I have a pretty good memory, so I know where each of these pieces was designed just for one model. Like this hat, for example. This is for my frog folk florist. So I have this really cute frog lady, and she has this really cute outfit, and this was her hat that I made for her. But it was a really nice hat, so I grabbed it to use later. Oh my goodness, ZBrush is having a meltdown. Okay, we'll just clear the screen, and ZBrush has calmed. Okay, that was interesting. ZBrush does not like to be brushed. All right, so I have these two hairstyles. I'm gonna kind of like kit bash to create this too low ponytail look. But in the meantime, let's grab any other pieces that I might be able to benefit from. A lot of this is gonna be from scratch. This jester hat here is pointed upwards, but that's not really the design for this character. I'm gonna grab it anyway in case I decide to use pieces of this. It's a really funny hat. It's a really hard one to get just right too. I already have some jester-like shoes. I will definitely be reusing those. Great questions though, right from the get-go. Definitely feel free to keep them coming. We lost our stamp there when ZBrush had a meltdown, so let me go ahead and put that stamp back at the top. It's just kind of fun so you guys can see the progress as we were working on this together. There we go. Excellent. All right, are there any other pieces I want to grab? I don't think so. This is going to be one of those models that's just mostly from scratch, which is kind of what I'm in the mood for right now anyhow. Yeah, she has like a leotard on essentially, which is definitely not something I have in here. All right, well, I grabbed the pieces that I could from my asset library, and now it's time to make it happen. Blake says, you broke ZBrush. I did, but I fixed it, so it's okay. Blaze says, so the person want a Harlequin from Batman pigtails. No, I don't even know if it's pigtails. Here, this is the sketch. It looks pigtail-esque, you know, because of separation here. So yeah. And they did describe this as a Harlequin. I just renamed it Jester because they're very similar, and most people aren't going to search for Jester or Harlequin. My bad. Wolf says, how do you make a quick stamp or copy of an object? A stamp, you just hold Shift and then S on your keyboard. So Shift and S for stamp. But that's not a copy that you can actually do anything with. Like, this doesn't actually exist. I can't modify this. If you want to do a duplicate of your subtool, click on duplicate right here in your menu, or Command Shift D, D for duplicate. Good question. Blaze says, sorry, don't be a pain. Just learn a lot of learning here. Yeah, learn on. And that wasn't being a pain at all. You were just asking about the design. Blake says, since I provided the picture, would you use it as a reference or just to get ideas? You know, I'm probably going to use it more closely as a reference. Usually I'm not that careful when following requests. I'm not like really pressed on making it exact. But since they went through the effort of making a drawing and everything, and they've been supporting me for years, so I know who this is that's supporting, and I've done models in this set, so to speak, that they've already created. I'm gonna do my best. Good question. So we're kind of just fitting these boots on here. They kind of got this weird droop thing on them, which I don't really care for, and I thought I did a better version of. I think I did for the Jester King. I'm gonna look at my organized folder here, because I want this to be taller. Tall Jester boot. There we go. I did reconstruct these. That's what I thought. I was like, I don't love these. So I made these boots from that boot you just saw. And that was during the Jester King, which is live stream, I think about a week or two ago from today. If you guys are watching in the future, that means early February of 2025. All right, so we've got boots now. Now let's go ahead and piece together this hairstyle. I mostly just want this for the ponytail, so I can go with my mask lasso brush. I can just kind of cut from the top here. And then I can hide what I don't want, and then delete hidden. And that gives me a really quick ponytail. It's gonna be on the smaller side. We'll go ahead and mirror and weld. Excellent. Make sure they're actually touching her head. Yeah, that's a hairstyle. Bulb. Let's go ahead and create the top part of that hairstyle. I'm not going to be too picky on this because a lot of it's going to be covered by the hat, but I definitely want it to be less weird and bald. Nothing wrong with bald, but there's definitely something wrong with bald and just two tufts of hair. That's odd. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove these long drape pieces because they don't suit this model or the hairstyle I'm going for. There we go. I do like the asymmetry of the bangs, and I'll probably be maintaining that. This is gonna look really silly until we get some more progress here. Just gotta trust the process. Sofire's here. Hi, I think you're new. Welcome. Hair is my nemesis. I just can't figure it out in ZBrush. Oh, I'd be happy to give more tips. If you have anything specifically that's confusing you, let me know, because I know it's not super helpful just seeing like me import these hairstyles if you're trying to learn. But I do have a mentorship program. I'm teaching people all the time, so I'm really passionate about it. If you have anything specific that's confusing you about it, let me know. I'd be really happy to give some specifics. Wolf says, is there a shortcut cheat sheet? There is, and there's also one that I made for my students. Blaze says, the crooked bangs give her a bit of character. How much will the mask cover though? I'm not sure. We're probably gonna work on the mask sooner than later. Aloha says, converted hair enjoyer here. Mia is great at teaching hair. Aloha is one of my mentorship students, and we just did the hair project assignment. You guys are super chatty and it's beautiful. If I miss anything you said and you ask me a question, just put it in the chat again and I'll catch it. All right, so we got a real odd hairstyle happening right here, but it's coming together slowly but surely. We really need to get this hat figured out and this mask before we go too much further. Another couple interesting problems that we have is the fact that, let's delete the eyebrows. She's a construct, so that's not really being reflected as of right now in her face. So let's go ahead and do that. A really quick way to get a head start is by going into geometry and clay polish, and it's gonna start to flatten out these forms a little bit. Pay close attention to the bridge of her nose and the edge of her lips. And that's going to start giving that more doll-like porcelain construct look. I'm going to come in with H polish and trim dynamic and flatten out some of these planes a little bit more. I can also use this to kind of encourage like that, a more, like a pretty feminine look here too. So I'm using this to complement her features as well. All right, so got a little bit more of that texture happening. Now let's do that mask. Blaze says, I can see it. Sorry, we're not gonna do sculpt today. We're gonna do hair, right? That'd be fun. You're missing the part, but I don't see any point until you try the hat. Yeah, it's just gonna cover it up. And yeah, there is some part there. Again, that's all gonna get hidden really soon here. All right, let's go ahead and create that mask. So the easiest way to do that is going to be using my mask pen. And I'm gonna lower the resolution just a touch. I mean, it's kind of like a this-shaped mask. That'll be a good starting point, I think. From here, we're gonna go to subtool and then extract this at 0 thickness. And the reason why I do that is because when there's no thickness to the mesh here, it's a lot easier to control and to modify. If you do have thickness here, you have to worry about how thick it's gonna be, and you might run into more problems that way. I'm gonna keep the eyelashes just to prevent the appearance that we have here, which is kind of jarring and creepy. So let's go ahead and bring those eyelashes out, and we're gonna arch them up a little bit. All right, we're gonna continue to zero mesh a few times, trying to maintain some integrity around the eyes. Masks are tricky, especially around the eye. We're not gonna want nostrils for obvious reasons. And then when you use your smooth brush on something that has no thickness like this, it will not smooth, it won't do anything. The way to change that is changing your min connected points to 1, and then you can smooth it. This is a custom UI, so it's really easy to find all the buttons I want. If you actually need to find this in the menus, let me know. Offhand, if you're familiar with ZBrush, I can tell you it's under the brush palette right here, down in the modifiers. Hey, Xander's here. Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. And yeah, making a construct jester. Blaze says, maybe square the jaw a bit. Probably. We'll get there. Hindsight. Ooh, are we critiquing it already? No, just asking questions and learning. It's half the battle. It is. Hindsight. Likely story, Blaze. Likely story. So far, it continues. I'm a 3D generalist by day. I've been really lucky to avoid hair. I'm very curious on the mentorship program, though. Is there more details available? Yeah, absolutely. It's $30 a month, and the main appeal is you get me. I teach one-on-one. I don't believe in a blanket style program or a course. I really think each person learns super individually, so I tailor assignments for each person. Most of it's hosted through Discord and a DM just between you and me. We do have a Discord, we can like share assignments and talk with other students and stuff, but for the most part, the mentorship program, to put it in a nutshell, it's me asking you what you want to learn and then creating assignments specifically for that. I do have video tutorials that I'll like provide as resources, but at the end of the day, I always just encourage you to ask me. All right, I need to get rid of this weird part of the mask that's just hugging the underside of her nose. So I'm gonna go ahead and mask the mask. When you draw this dark circle here, like this painting, that's called masking. It's just funny that I'm also creating a mask right now, which makes this a little unclear. All right, delete hidden. There we go. And so far, I appreciate you asking more questions about the mentorship too, because I guarantee there's people lurking here that are interested, but you know, they're maybe a little more shy. There we go, that looks much better now that we don't just have that weird nostril hugging thing going on. All right, we're gonna leave this mask where it's at because the second it stops looking terrible, I'm like, great, we've blocked out, move on. That's really critical when you're designing a cohesive character. Don't get too zeroed in on one detail at a time. Just block out. Move throughout the model, keep going, and it'll result in a much more cohesive model by the time that you're finished. All right, we need to go ahead and get this hat done. And we also need to lean her out a little bit. I love sculpting muscular women. However, this construct I want it to be more doll-like, so it's going to be more on the spindly side. And these quads definitely don't happen naturally. That is some serious working out. All right. Very good. Let's go ahead and grab a hat. This is a hat I made for a jester a while back. Again, we're almost done with this blocking out phase from previous assets I've made. Everything else, like the leotard and the, this looks so funny. The leotard will be made from scratch on stream right now. So yeah, I have this funny hat with stuff pointing upwards. I don't love that. That's a much more classic jester, which I designed for a male. So we're going to duplicate this hat here, and then we're going to start cutting up different pieces to utilize for this character. I do like the collar. I'm fine with that. So we can close holes, my bad, and then mirror and weld. I'm going to mirror and weld across the x-axis and z. And mirror and weld, essentially, what that's going to do is it's going to create a copy across a certain axis, like a mirror. So we have two pieces right here. Let's go ahead and unify this piece. I'll need to flip it over, do a few adjustments here. It'll make sense in just a moment here when I piece it all together. If anything's happening too fast, I kind of just boogie on stream. So if you're like, what is going on? Just please, please, please ask. I'm happy to clarify. My students can vouch that I talk much, much slower during my instructional videos. I do love this little collar here, and I think it's a nice nod to like traditional designs on jesters. Again, her lats are really big, so that's why this isn't fitting quite right. All right, I want to get that somewhat done. Now I can check on the chat again. Blaze says, wow, great. Drat, I don't get to complain about the neck being too bare. Oh, I know, right? Xander says, have you tried your hand at anything outside of modeling? As you can see, I've been getting into VTubing or being a VTuber recently. One, very cool, and like your new like little adventure. Two, I haven't. I mean, I've done some illustration work just for fun. Like I'll just do cute stuff. Like I kind of shared this before where like this is like a cat that I will doodle every now and then, and I'll make like little art boards. So I do some 2D illustration stuff for fun. But as far as like rigging stuff up for like VTubers or other kind of 3D modeling, no, I haven't done a whole lot of that. Good question though. And yes, this is Hemi. It's one of my favorite original characters. He's precious. And I'm a big fan of cats and just animals in general, in case you didn't know. My illustration and my 2D skills are much farther behind than my 3D, just for lack of practice and lack of talent. 3D came to me somewhat naturally, and it just didn't for 2D. I don't know why. I will always think it's funny though. The amount of hours I put into being like a 2D artist and developing those skills, should's a powerful word, but I feel like I should be better, but it's okay. I'm working on it. All right, we have another piece there. Let's go ahead and throw this leotard on because it's just so bare right now. So the way that I'm gonna do that is deleting these like modesty garments. I have them there just because sometimes YouTube has a meltdown, sometimes it doesn't. I also need to reduce the size of her lats again because they're just huge. That's that muscle on your back. It's really important to keep this ribcage bump right here, otherwise your model will look crushed and sucked in, and not in a sexy way, but in a deformed way. All right, so for the leotard, we're gonna use a mask, and we're gonna throw it over here like that, and I'm gonna refine the shape here using my pen masking brush. It's gonna have a bit of a U shape, but it's almost halter-like, so we want these straps to run upwards. Here we go. It's not supposed to be a pin-up model, but I can't resist giving it a little bit of a cheeky cut. Still gonna be family friendly. I also do pin-up models, so that's why trying to be good because I'm like, I already have models I do that for. Leotards are naturally a bit cheekier though. All right, that's a decent base we have here. And now we'll extract it just like we did before. Can't help but refine it a little more. There we go. Now that I have this as a new subtool, I can go ahead and remesh it with Zero Mesher and polish by features. And just like that, we have a decently nice fitting leotard. It needs a lot more work to make it look perfect, but this is a really good starting point, you know? So what makes this more flattering and less flattering? It's very sensitive, and like the way you're gonna have this curve like on her hips, that's where a lot like that appeal is gonna come from. And it's not gonna come from taking this and making it shaped like this. Please resist the urge. Rain's here. Hey, welcome back. Cute. Yeah, it's gonna be like a jester rogue construct. Blaze says, well, 3D is more about what I want to do. I want to design stuff to print. That makes sense. That's my passion, as you guys know. All right, I see that the model that initially won the vote, which is this Jester Rogue construct, has been it's been surpassed by the Biomechanical Lich. So once I reach a stopping point, if I do on this stream today, I will shift to that. If you want to hijack my stream, you can. We have a goal, like a chat for that. So at the top, there's that little like arrow and a target. $5 donation, you get to hijack the stream, and you can either force choose it to Biomechanical Lich or whatever you want. Just letting you guys know that's an option, since I see that there is more interest in that one right now. But I'm gonna keep working on this one for now because that's where the stream initially, where the vote won. All right, we're gonna keep on going. She's also gonna have leggings, and they're going to be asymmetrical, which is one of my favorite details to do. So I'll show you guys how I do leggings. It's very, very similar. It's a lot of masking and extracting. And you guys can kind of see underneath me here, there's a subtool list. These are all those distinct pieces. So yeah. There's something that's just so relaxing about 3D modeling and this process, and it's just one of my favorite things to do is building up each of these pieces and then slowly going through and detailing them all. I feel very lucky to do what I do. And that's partly why I love answering your guys' questions so much, because if you have even a remote interest in learning how to 3D model, like, it's such a fun skill. It's a big market out there. You can totally carve out your own niche if any interest in doing this professionally. I've been doing this full time for almost 6 years now. It's crazy to think. I couldn't ask for a better job. I do have formal training. I actually have my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I guess this is problem solving. And I never had like a secret desire to be an artist, but I always enjoyed doing it. I never thought I'd be here, you know? All right, there we go. We now have the leggings blocked out, and she also has these adorable like poofy sleeves. Let's go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to create them in 2 segments, and I'm probably going to just duplicate them when it moves further down. I'm going to be very careful around the elbow area because that's what, you know, bends and deforms. So when I pose her, I need to create that in a way that doesn't have too much love put in it, because I'm probably going to have to resculpt it later anyway. So that being said, I'm actually going to do this section instead. Interesting. Okay, so the initial section's like this. Okay. Blaze says, oh, it is a great feeling to see something you designed print. It really is. And most of y'all know what I do here, but like I have a bunch of minis off camera, all these little things that are hanging out here, and I'll bring on screen now and then. Yeah, these are all things that I've sculpted. And then I have a big print going on right now because I also do stuff in FTM. This is obviously not really a mini anymore. I have him printed small as well, but I'm doing another color print of that Eldritch Knight we worked on the last week or so. So when that succeeds, I'll let you guys know how it turned out. We ran out of one of the colors of filament we needed, so that's currently being worked on. We are ordering that now, so that print won't be done for a couple days, but I should have an update for you by next week. when designing for 3D printing, it's not as imperative to have perfect topology, but it still does help to work with. So I'm looking for a clean loop here, like no triangles, that kind of stuff. That's just for the designing phase though. When we move on to actually preparing this for 3D printing, none of that matters. I just remesh by union. It's absolute chaos topology wise, and that's okay. We just want it to be watertight, so no holes, that kind of stuff. Alrighty, there's gonna be a band at the top here and another that's right at the bottom. But it's really important that I have these masked off ahead of time, so that way when I inflate, it kind of happens organically. You'll see the trick here in just a moment. I'm gonna have ZModeler help me. I'm gonna hold down spacebar over a poly. It's very important when you use ZModeler that you're not hovered over a line or a point, because it behaves differently. So look, here's a line menu, here's the point menu, and here's the poly menu. They're all different. That took me like a year to figure out, being totally honest. Anyway, so I'm gonna hover over a poly, and I'm gonna change my function. The top here is a function. Here we go. And the bottom is a target. So I changed my function to mask, and my target will be a poly loop. So now I can mask all at once. How nifty is that? And if I hit Command W, it'll change the color, so now it's a poly group. That just means it's like a selection that ZBrush is gonna remember. So now I can quickly mask that. All right, now let's give it some shape. I'm gonna go with my inflate brush. This is super satisfying. And add some poof. Check that out. I'm also using my smooth brush to make it look a little more natural. And there we go. Now we have this really beautiful poofy sleeve, and we're gonna construct the bottom half of it now too. Blaze says, so is the rigging to do the poses part of ZBrush? So there is rigging in ZBrush. It's called Z-spheres. It's okay. I usually mask and do stuff manually, or I import it into Character Creator 4 as of the last few months. Blaze says, after watching the dress video, I can understand more about some of the stuff you're doing now. I bet. So I have a free tutorial on my YouTube channel right now, and it's about how to sculpt a dress, and it covers a lot of these fundamentals. It's kind of like a teaser to like 3D modeling and basics like that. All right, so I don't think I need to recreate this. I think I can just duplicate it and modify it to fit this bottom half. I'm really big on reusing pieces as much as possible. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. You just kind of learn by doing. Again, the pose might distort a lot of the sleeve here, so I'm not getting too attached to it. This is more for like character building and silhouette creation. Yep, that worked out. And then it does need to have a bigger poof here. So let's go ahead and create that. I'm gonna use the same masking technique from earlier. Thank you, ZModeler brush. If you're looking at ZBrush on iPad, unfortunately ZModeler brush isn't on iPad yet, but I think they're adding it like in a month. So very, very soon. And you don't have to have it to create characters. It's just a nice tool. All right, here are these really cute sleeves we have going. I'm gonna go ahead and close holes and extrude a section at the top. And I'll give like a nice clean band and just give some more structure to the appearance of the sleeve. How's that? All right, I think we're about ready to move on. We're not gonna detail yet because so much of the character isn't even complete. And I try to hold off detailing for as long as possible. All right, it's also sensitive to what direction you pull. There we go. All right, so the sleeves have been blocked out. Alrighty. A lot of really fantastic questions today. So I'm curious, since we have some people here that are 3D printing, and today it looks like we have more people that are 3D modelers and designers. I'm curious if you guys have a 3D model that you've seen that's like really stuck with you, like an artist that you reminder, or an artist that you really look up to, and just kind of like inspires you. There's a piece I saw a while ago. It's of this big dragon and like this little mouse at his feet, and he's like perched up like a puppy and like staring at this little mouse. I can't remember the name of this artist, but she's like super, super popular. I think it's Maria Panaflova, pretty sure is her name. Anyway, but it just stuck with me, and it's just such a cool model. And it's always, I recommend having models that like are really inspirational to you, and that you like keeping them in the forefront of your mind. It just serves as a nice motivator to like keep going. Again, a reminder to keep some of these forms here. They're so important. So you want that hip bone to be visible still, and you want this bump. Some people get too focused on the breast. It's not all about the boobs. You really got to make sure you have this bump right here at underneath her rib cage, and this belly pooch too. It just makes the model more appealing and more accurate. It's truly like a win-win. And then friendly reminder that breasts are teardrop shaped, not hemisphere shaped. There we go. Blake says, I love dragons. So that's probably maybe a model that I recommend going to like ArtStation or probably even Pinterest and like searching like 3D models of dragons, and maybe just keeping a couple pinned like on your desktop, and it'll keep you really inspired. Wolf says, my favorite is the Kingdom Death models, but not the pinups. The monsters and survivors are cool. Awesome. See, that's what I'm talking about. I love that you immediately had like an answer of things that, you know, that are immediately inspiring to you. So really important to keep in the forefront of your mind. Especially because you mentioned that you're wanting to get, I can't remember, Wolf, you said if you want to get back into 3D modeling or if you want to start 3D modeling. Either way, I encourage you to do so. It's never too late to start. It's never too late to get back to it. I think some people were really hard on themselves for falling out of a hobby they like. That's fine. We all do that. I'm at Zero Mesh with same turned on because we have some really funny topology happening at the butt here, and it needs to be smoother so it's easier for me to work with. So I'm using Zero Mesher at same and now at half to get some better topology, though it really wants to fight me. Something that I can do is I can mask just the bottom half here, and I can do polish by features, and that'll kind of help clean up that mesh a little bit. That's a little bit better. It is being a little silly. I might want to reconstruct that later. Because she has leggings, I especially don't mind going for a bit of a cheekier cut. There we go. Okay, that polish by features really helped the front too. This edge right here is now a lot sharper, and I'm really happy with that. I do want this to look more like a halter top almost. So we're gonna pull this down to be more of a U shape, and then we're also gonna thin these straps. We can use the pinch brush to do that really quickly. Her deltoids are a little too broad here. That's this muscle right here. So we're gonna kind of pull that in, and I'll even use my damn standard brush to kind of cut a line to where that's supposed to be to serve as like a guide for me. I'm saying a lot of fancy names like deltoids and stuff, but in my head I'm really thinking like shoulder muscle. You don't need to be like a master of anatomy to sculpt cool models. It really helps, but just, I never want people to feel intimidated, like they have to learn like 1,000 things to get started. Like you don't have to know anything, just start. Blaze says, yeah, to make it uniform, I think you might check the poof on the shoulders. This poof? There's nothing on her shoulders. Or you might have ironically been talking about the exact same thing that I just fixed. If so, that'd be kind of cool. We're on the same page. And then Wolf says, I highly recommend looking into it. Oh, Kingdom Death models? Yeah, I definitely will. I actually have like a notepad over here where I write down things from the strain that I'll look at later. Blaze says, honestly, right now, I want to do things for hubby as he's really encouraging me. I was excited to make him some basic bases and color to put on the bottom of his bases to make more units. That's really cool. Wolf said, I did a very small amount of 3D modeling. I want to get into it again, but with a better view and someone as a guide. That makes sense. Wolf, Blaze says, that's good, Wolf. You gonna print some? Yeah, if you're gonna 3D print it too. Like, I am your girl. Like, that's straight up what I do for a living, is printing and designing my own stuff. Wolf says, I made a Snom from Pokemon and a few horns. How do I not know what a Snom is? I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Snom? Like the little ice guy? Yeah, okay, there was just an L in it. That makes sense. Dude, that'd be a really fun early project. So there he is. Snom. And yeah, just Snom. But yeah, fun fact, I'm a huge Pokemon fan. That was like my game of choice as a kid. Hey, Ricardo's here. Hi, thank you for new. Welcome. I want to get more into 3D modeling. I just recently found this channel, and watching someone a while, they explain the process works great for understanding it. The more I 3D print as a hobby for cosplay. Oh, cool. Yeah, if you cosplay, this all just fits hand in hand. If you want to learn more about 3D modeling or have someone teach you, I do that. Blaze says, nice. Hindsight, knowing anatomy is incredibly important, but yeah, as far as learning all the terminology, it's easy to do it piecemeal. As research reference, you'll learn the names. Absolutely. Wolf says, I'm a huge Pokemon fan as well. I'm excited to see what they release next in the main series. I actually liked Violet and Scarlet. I know it ran like trash, but I still really liked it. Yeah, cosplay is so cool. I never got super into cosplay. I like the idea of designing it, but actually wearing it out in public, I don't know. I don't like taking pictures or being touched, so like I don't know. It doesn't go very well if I'm a cool cosplay. People want to take pictures with you and like give you hugs, and like I hate all of that. So I figured maybe it's not a great fit for me. All right, we're making some really good progress here. Let me kind of touch back to see what my reference is and make sure that I'm not missing any core pieces. We still have a long way to go, and she's still missing a hat, which is huge. Hindsight says, I love Pokemon as a kid. Less now. Once they got 3 generations in, I lost interest. My son's getting into it now, and that's awesome. Oh, no kidding. How fun is that? All right, I think I have a hat from the Jester King we worked on together earlier this month. But goodness, we have so many 3D modelers here. Love that. Can you guys tell me how you got into it? I'm really curious. I just downloaded Sculptress and started messing around, and I took some requests off a D&D Beyond forum. I just made a post being like, hey, do you guys want something? And I just said stuff for free. It's like, it wasn't like a commission. It was just literally, I was a terrible artist. I was brand new baby, and people were like, yeah, make a slime monster, make this. And it was just super fun, and it was just really wholesome, and it was a good time. But that's how I got my start. Yeah, interesting. I actually, I think I'm gonna just chop up this hat. Because again, I've already made this before, and it's similar to what this design needs to be. Let's see if I can make this work, yeah? Jester hats are tricky. They look odd. Even when they're done well, they look weird. And I'll make sure to check the chat again soon to see if any of y'all kind of chimed in or wanted to share how you got your start in 3D modeling. Blaze, I know you're just starting your kind of adventure, and I'm so excited for you to go to that seminar and get your feet wet. All right, we have one tube here. And the way that this hat has fit, you know what? I think I wish I grabbed a different one. We're gonna undo this. I want the center one. That shape's gonna be easier to modify. So right now I'm pretty much like kit bashing my own pieces. So I do it, every model I do kind of helps a future model, whether I know it or not. So I like to really take my time and put a lot of thought into the construction of each piece, because I end up getting a lot more use out of it, which is really important for me because I do teach, but my main business is selling these 3D models and making requests. So it's important that I can create stuff quickly. All right, this is working out. We can work with this. Hey, Scott's here. Hey, welcome. I think you've been here before. I'm not certain. I might be thinking of a different Scott, but either way, welcome. Scott says, I'm a putty sculptor for 15 years and all my friends went digital. Oh, no kidding. Do you use Blender too? I do not. I've noticed some sculptors seem to know both. I do know a decent amount of Blender. I used to use it to rig characters and play with that, but I end up just coming back to ZBrush. Wolf says, I love sculpting with green stuff and multi-put in real life. Okay, cool. Hindsight went to school for it. All right. Let me skim up here. There's a lot of chat I actually missed. Very cool. Blaze says, I wanted dungeon tiles and Dwarven Forge too expensive and a 3D printer was good. STL's cheaper. Makes sense. Well, cool. I actually don't do a whole lot of traditional sculpting. For me, it was just more economical and made more sense just to do it digital from the start. Let's see. Blaze says, I'm not much of an artist. I can paint minis and can do a respectable job, but not golden demon quality. Well, yeah, you gotta be comfortable with your models looking unfinished. If you criticize your work before it's even finished, just be gentle with yourself as you're learning. Hindsight says same. Done more traditional sculpting than digital in the last decade, but once I had my son and he got out of the infant age, all creative hobby time kind of took a dive. Womp womp. That makes sense. Aloha, Blender reference, mad face. Hindsight says, I'll get back to it one day, but not yet. That makes sense. We give Blender a hard time here. It's purely a joke. All right. She's also going to need a cap that all of this actually sticks to. I have some that are already pre-made and done, but let's go ahead and just create a hat base really quickly. It's going to be like a cap, essentially. So let's go ahead and wrap that around. I don't know if it's going to touch the top of her ears. I don't think it's going to. She's a construct, so I can really play with some features here and where they lay. Usually your ears are also at the same level as your eyes, the top of your ears anyway. All right, that's gonna be the cap we're gonna create here. I'm gonna go down and extract. There we are. Wolf says, I wanna get a Golden Demon Award at some point in my life. That's a great goal. I don't know if I have any like clear goals like that when it comes to my own 3D modeling work. I just wanna keep getting better so I can keep making people's requests and just like bring their vision to life. All right, so we now have this cap here. I do want to have some of her bangs poking out because it just makes the design a little cuter. Again, I've done a few jesters and I'm gonna keep making them. I need to make them look significantly different, right? I already have a creepy jester that's very classic. Since this is a woman, I just want this to be a bit sweeter. And I have the Jester King as well. They all have their place. All right, we have the base of the hat here, kind of constructing well. And then I do think I'm gonna be able to use this quite a bit, I think. It might be easier to just keep one of these as a reference and then use my curve brush and recreate these. I had this to kind of block out and it worked out better than I expected it to. But I don't want to overwork this mesh. Again, I like to use these pieces I've made before, kind of the kit bash or quickly concept, but they rarely, I don't think this is going to make the final cut. It is going to have 3 pieces. So let's go ahead and take this, we're going to mask it, and there's going to be a 3rd section on the back. There we go, and I can kind of stitch them all together. They look like giant pigtails right now. We definitely need them to be affected by gravity still. So I can go ahead and mask this and kind of play with that silhouette. It's actually very cute looking. It's a little silly. I'll reduce the puffiness and I'll probably just construct this myself and then just use this as like a placement reference. We'll see. Blaze says, oh, I didn't tell you. My hubby liked the base tiles I made him and that he wants me to make him a canoe now. Anyone besides me see the huge difference? There's a bit of a difference there. Hindsight says, disagree with economical. Putty and epoxy have a way cheaper entry cost, especially since Maxon bought ZBrush. Over the long run, could balance out. Digital tablet software would be expensive. Oh, for me, it's definitely more economical. I've made almost 1,000 models. The physical cost of that, and I distribute them digitally. So like I couldn't even do the business I do without it being digital. Wolf asks, what is your favorite model you have made? Probably my river dragon. And I know if I talk about it, I gotta show it to you guys. It's off the top of my head. I might have a different one, but this is of the my favorite models I have made. But yeah, here's my river dragon. This giant blue swirl. I actually printed it in transparent blue resin a while ago, but I moved across the country and I threw everything away. But I can just print it again. But yeah, I adore this model, and it's even more beautiful as you see it rotated in 3D. Specifically this spiral shape I managed to achieve here and how long the body and the tail is. I just love this model. Very, very proud of it. Blaze is getting more tips about hair proportions and stuff. Awesome. Definitely keep thinking about this design along with me in your head. I'll probably end up doing it, but I don't mind you chiming in. Xander says, if Games Workshop's not going to release the Ambrina Shadow Elves, I'm going to need to pay you $40,000 to make an army for it. Hindsight, Blaze, winning awards doesn't make you an artist, so not winning doesn't make you not an artist. This is true. Hey, Taylor's here, welcome. Other Taylor was here earlier. Selling physical goods sounds like a lot of trouble if you want to scale as a business. Absolutely. Blaze says, oh, I love looking at them. I hear you, Hindsight, don't get me wrong. Well, or don't get me wrong, Wolf. Hindsight, to me, well, yeah, as business, definitely agree. I was approaching it from a hobbyist perspective. That's fair. And even then, it still can be cheaper to do it physical or digital because you need to have the space too. So you need to have like a desk you can work at. But I guess it's true for digital as well. I don't know. I guess it just depends how much you do it. I didn't really put a ton of thought into that. Aloha says, does this mean lore-wise Ricky is in the other room building a tavern? Yes, it does. Ricky's my husband. M3DM is short for Mia's 3D models. I am Mia, but we're actually, M3DM is a duo. It's my husband and I. Scott says, agree with 3D printing sculpts. I don't want to pay mold and cast and pewter. Yeah, same. All right, I think I grabbed all the chat there. You guys got a lot of good stuff to say, so I've been kind of making sure I don't miss you. All right, we're gonna reconstruct this hat from scratch. I just kind of use this. I cut out the previous hat I made, this one. I made this one years ago. So it's got issues, but it's got character. Anyway, so I cut this one up just to quickly block out this other design here, but now we're gonna actually get serious and create it. So there's some cool techniques gonna be happening here soon. So my 3D modelers, especially tune in right now because you might grab some good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna be using a curve brush to create this, and I'm gonna create one tube and then duplicate it 3 times. And the tube being this piece I'm talking about. So using the curve brush will be ideal for this, but we can make it do some of the work for us. Right now it doesn't have that taper shape that we need. So if I go to stroke and my curve modifier, I can actually adjust this graft here to taper it automatically for me. So I'm gonna enable size. I'm gonna flip this graph so it's a negative linear. I'm gonna bring up that point so it's less severe of a slope, so less intense. Try not to sound like just straight math terms. Just a little bit of a drop, not a lot of drop. And now when I click on this, you'll see it updates live. So here's the before and here's the after. Pretty cool. So I want this to have more of that poof shape. So I can even add another point to the graph and really keep fine tuning this. Obviously you can sculpt it too, but it's nice to have it do some of the work for you and you end up with a nicer shape overall. I can also come through and adjust my brush size to get the same effect. It's a little poofier than I want it to be. I'm probably just gonna have it be a straight linear and then do any adjustments myself. But I want to show you that trick right there because it's really cool. And if you're doing like a really long vine or something organic, you can get a lot of interesting variation by adding a bunch of points to that curve. Blaze says, the poof kind of works with the gesture though. Lots of character. That's true, but I don't want to get too poofy too fast. Blaze says, my dining room is a hobby room these days. I feel that. Got my printers in there and my laptop on the table right now. No kidding. I like it. All right, we're gonna split mass points. There we go. So now we got this piece here, and I need to adjust it just a touch here. A little more volume at the top. And we're also gonna have daggers on the end of it, because again, it is a jester, but she's actually also a rogue, so I'm gonna be hiding daggers throughout the entire model. And there'll be that classic bell on the end too. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab that bell. Yoink, mine now. Wolf says, when I move places, I'll make a 3D print and sculpting area for myself and the painting room for my boyfriend and I. That sounds lovely. That's one of the first things my husband and I did when we got our own place. You know, just immediately had like a hobby room. It's been awesome. I highly, highly recommend. All right, so now we have this piece here that I can kind of do the same thing. We're gonna block this out again, but with this more refined shape I've created here. The taper is really important at the base here because it's gonna just make more sense when I create those seams of it being stitched in. I think adding some bands here with the Z modeler brush is gonna be important too. Other way, come on Z modeler. There you go. My goodness, go the way I want you to. So there's a tiny little line here you guys can see where it's pointing up or pointing to the side, and that dictates which way that this is going to extrude that poly loop, and it can be really finicky to grab sometimes. All right, there we go. Same one there, and there'll be another one here. And insert an edge loop, and then another extrude poly loop. My God, ZBrush. Horizontal. There you go. Just kind of have this like as construction lines, and then I'll come through later and add like stitching and stuff. I need there to be more of a point right here, so I might do some fine movements with my move brush. Hindsight says they want to transform, I want to transform my basement into a hobby / craft space, but it's going to be a big project, absolutely. Super old house and gravel floor basement. Gravel floor basement. Oh, that is a whole thing. Goodness. Aloha says, Mia, is my sorry ban lifted yet? You get one temporary pass. I don't know what you want to apologize about right now. Aloha is my students. Like, I give them a hard time. Wolf says, 3D printer shelves are scary at times. I would want those metal industrial ones for my printers. Oh, really? Or that's what we have too, actually. We got some out of Lowe's, I believe. Hindsight continues. Plus, my wife mocks me for having to hunch to walk around down there already. Yeah. All right, we're gonna add these daggers sooner than later because that's gonna affect the silhouette substantially. This is my weapons master tool I have here. Kind of a fun thing. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of tuck those in. I'm gonna play with that design, see how that turns out. I definitely want her to have some daggers that are gonna be pinned to her hip. Just gonna put these right here. They're not like fit to her body right now. This is kind of like a reminder design for me later. So in the sketch he provided, they're kind of just tucked under this bell right here. I'm gonna see if I can get this to look the way I want. If not, I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna put the dagger somewhere else. I think I can make this work though. I think I'm gonna do 3, just like the hat. It's really important that I'm able to position these in a way though that read clearly from the front. I think I can. There'll be a band that wraps around them. I'm really not liking how the silhouette's turning out. They need to be a different shaped dagger. They need to be really more diamond-like, I think, if that's gonna work. The daggers on our hip are fine, but for this, that's not working. So let's go ahead and pivot. You'll notice that as I work, I don't get too attached to any like one idea, and I really recommend that. Be flexible as you work. So to create a blade, I recommend going into initialize and creating a cube. There we go. I can see the chat is moving. I'm gonna check on you guys in just a moment. Right now I'm kind of creating that like a diamond shaped dagger, which I think is very fitting because, you know, like it's a suite in cards. All right, you guys are having a very good talk about shelves. I'm gonna let that keep on going then. Very good. Now we're talking about moisture, 3D printing. Very good. Gonna let that happen. Keep on working. All right, we're gonna find more of that dagger shape here. I like it. Something pointed. And then this needs to have a edge to it. I'm trying to remember how the best way to do that. I might just put a bevel on there. Let's see. I'm just gonna see if I like how that looks. If not, I'll need to just construct the edge manually, which is a-okay. Yeah, I was kind of worried it's gonna be a little silly the way it's gonna do this, which is fine. I got tricks. All right, that actually worked out perfect. Excellent. Blaze says, what about a pair of blades together, like a hair ornament? I would like that. She's a sim now. I guess, yeah, there's totally is. I didn't think about that. I would not have even connected that because I'm so like in the zone. Beautiful. Right now I'm going to position this bell a little bit better before I duplicate it. All right, I like how that turned out. It's better than the shape I was messing with before. Let's see if I can get this, before I spend too much time on it, if it's even gonna work the way I wanted it to. Let's see if I can just create a triangle shape here and then fit that instead. Ooh, it'd probably look better if they flared out ever so slightly. That'd probably help them read. This is my favorite parts about being a 3D modeler for, you know, a living. I feel like it's where a lot of my engineering, you know, background I still get to use too. It's just nonstop problem solving. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. So I'm actually not gonna want that bell larger. That looks silly. That's more the look I wanted. Just like a spiky end on this. All right, now that I have that blocked out enough, we're gonna move it around and we're gonna concept kind of the same way we did earlier. Seeing how all of this fits together. Having a problem with the overall integrity of this. It's just a little droopy and odd looking. So we're gonna need to customize that a bit further. Hindsight says, just do a crosscut in the diamond shape and pull the middle point up, like kunai style. Yes, I will probably do that to further improve that. So they're saying to take this. Where is the original blade? That'd be easier to do on the original. I want to like demo it just for people that aren't sure what you're saying. To pull that center point up, I don't think I can just use the move brush, but it'd be great if I could. Yeah, it's not going to do a great job. Can I just strike it with a damn standard? The way the topology is, it's not going to want to play nicely with that. Can I just duplicate it? I know what you're saying, it's just the execution of it, less practice with. And that then needs to taper. I'll come back to it. I know what you're saying though. Just the way, again, this where topology really matters and the way that you constructed things. All right, we're going to unsim her. I'm more focused on the silhouette on this hat right now. Again, I think this just needs to be, yeah, more up, like pointier, because it's kind of just droopy and sad looking right now. Hats are so sensitive, y'all. It's either fun, they make or break her piece, a piece. They look kind of like fish stuck to her head right now. Blay says, you know, every time you guys use technical words, I only understand every other word. I'll be glad I can understand all of them. If there's any specifics I said that were confusing, let me know. Topology, here, I'm gonna get a little vocab here. Topology is just talking about the squares and triangles that make up a mesh. So that's all it means. So like, if I dynamesh, see how it looks different now? So I just changed the topology. Now I have a triangle right here. That's all that means. And then as far as dam standard, that's a funny word too. That's just a brush. Dam standard is this brush right here that has the crease on it. I think those are the only technical terms I used. And Hindsight says, yeah, you'd have to break the topology into 4 tries. Yeah. That's basically the shape I'm talking about, Blaze. Like a flattened, or shape I'm talking about, like a flattened or smooshed crystal. Yes. Well, that, data snoo, more that. They're doing their own technical talk. I like it. And that's one of the big reasons why I started my mentorship program, because there is so much technical talk and it's not very beginner friendly, and it's so much easier when you have someone to guide you through it. I wish I had me to teach me. All right, that point is looking better. Blaze says, are you gonna add a strap on the thigh weapons? That among a lot of things, yeah. I said it really quickly, but I mentioned like when I threw them on there, it's just to remind myself later about maybe adding that design. All right, so whenever I change design a lot, I'll go back to see where we started. So we had this to begin, and then we changed it. Oh yeah, if you guys have just been hanging out but not looking up, this is a good time to look up because I'm doing some interesting things showing the design change really quickly. So this is the block out of just cutting up a previous model I had, and then we iterated the design a little bit to look like this, more like pigtails. And I started to recreate it from scratch this time, so I constructed it with this curve tube. We kind of adjusted the design a bit, and then I duplicated it a bunch of times to get here. And now I'm making it pointier, and I feel like I don't like it now. I think I just liked it when it was just a bit more pigtail-like. So we're gonna go back to this shape. Not because it's better, but because you wanna be careful about not overworking a mesh. I think it's this band right here, it's giving me a hard time. And then Aloha jokingly says, pay attention guys at the back, which is awesome, as if this is like a classroom or a tavern. I think it's just the way gravity is here. It's looking odd. I'm gonna mask the top here, and then I'm gonna increase the intensity on my move brush. I can do some quick adjustments to find the silhouette. I can click V on my keyboard to turn the whole model black, and that's also kind of a nice tool to fix it, because right now they look like tubes. There we go, that already looks more hat-like. So again, I just clicked on V on my keyboard to see the silhouette, and so I can play with it. I didn't realize how weird and tall her top of her head looked. Interesting. Oh, that's that back piece. I'm gonna actually hide that because I don't want that affecting my silhouette choices from the front. So right now I'm doing a lot of big adjustments. I might have to redo, that's fine. But I'm just finding that I need to make it more jester-like. That already looks better than what I did before. So again, we did this curly thing to, there we go. I think that looks better. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna put up 2 stamps. This is our starting point, and then this is kind of the new silhouette that I've created, and we're just talking about the hat right here. Let me know what you guys think. Blaze says, well, the bat could be jewelry like gold or silver. Absolutely. Oh, the band, yeah. Wolf said, who was a front row seat kid? I wasn't. I always sat at the very, very back. Hindsight, absolutely not me. As a tall kid, I sit in the back, as far back as possible. I just sat in the back because I like to doodle on my homework and that kind of stuff. If you sit at the very, very front, they notice. Aloha says, Mia, you will have a seating plan for the tavern. Make sure none of the bad students are next to each other. That means that none of you guys can sit by each other. My goodness, you guys are all people in class, and I'm like, stop talking. Obviously, jokes. I love that you guys talk the whole time during my stream. Alright, still playing with this silhouette here. I'm really happy with some of the changes I've made here. We'll have to turn on the light, so to speak, soon to see how it actually looks. But at least the shape, I think, is a lot stronger. Hindsight says, that's fine. We'll correct the good ones. All right. We need to add some volume to the back of the hat here, since I wasn't really paying attention to that part of the silhouette. An easy way to do that is I can just mask, and then I can do a much more controlled adjustment. There we go. I can also use a standard brush to kind of add some volume to the front. Oh, Dragon's here. Hey, welcome. I can be loud. Yells. Oh my gosh. Now she just looks like a pirate without the hat. We're gonna put a new stamp up there as a reference as I keep working. I'm just giggling reading the chat. You guys are being really sweet. Anyone that's new or just lurking, these are my regulars. This is just how they are. Feel free to join in. Oh, and if you guys want to lurk somewhere else other than my live streams, I have a link at the very, very top of the chat with the little heart that says join us in all caps. That's my Discord invite. You guys are welcome to be there as well. It used to be just for my Patreon only, but as I started live streaming more, a lot of you guys are really talkative, and it's kind of fun to talk to you guys outside of my streams too. And then Mini Blaze is, for some reason I'm getting images of Ashoka. That's from Star Wars, and now that you said that, that is what I'm trying to do here. I don't like jester hats, and I think it shows because I am trying to make this anything except what it is. That's totally what it's looking like, which is fine, but like that's not a jester. That's totally what I'm trying to make this. Yeah, Blaze, you absolutely nailed it. That's oh my god. I might have to take a break from this hat. And then Blaze talking to any of our lurkers or new people. We don't fight, but maybe a LOL. That's true. That's very accurate actually. There we go. I think I just want to like sit off of her a little bit. It's so fragile. Jeez. All right. We're gonna have to go back to like just the early construction point here. This is becoming too much. Back to just the silhouette. I went into details way too soon, and that's what happens. Had fun, played around, not working. Blaze, your comment was super helpful. Also, it was those bands I added. Again, I started detailing before I even had the shape down, and you literally can't do that. I know better. Having the daggers on there was helpful to creating that silhouette though, and having them kind of pointed to this triangle shape was really nice. So I'm gonna reform that triangle again, and then we're gonna try again. That's really important. Any of my students, past students, current students, future students, this is a very important tip. Don't be too attached to your design. Make sure you're gonna restart from scratch. Make sure you're gonna really play with that silhouette. That's everything. If it's not working, it's because you went into details too soon. So try again. And it's not even about being a perfectionist. It's like, I think I can do better, so I'm gonna try. And now I'm going into this with more specific reasons of why I think the other one didn't work. And it didn't work for two reasons. One, it was too tapered, so we're gonna fix that right now. There we go, fix one. Two, it didn't have a good flow to it. It was a little too droopy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have it look a little, the material look more stiff by having it sit off of the body more. So I'm gonna increase my strength of my move brush, and we're gonna pull it off the body more. Regularly zero meshing to keep this topology as clean and sharp as possible. At some point I need to change it from half to same so I don't get too low poly. There we go. And there really needs to be that point at the top, and it's kind of a balance here to prevent it from looking like a big ponytail. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in with my standard brush, my dam standard, and kind of strike an edge right there. See how I built up that edge? Now I have a reference point that isn't actually detail topology that I can kind of tweak. There we go. Looking less tentacle and more hat. Hindsight says, Mia, what if you scrap the hat idea? I can't. Give her a headband and long pigtails to keep the idea impression dresser hat without the hat. I would like to, he gave me such a cool sketch. Again, this is like, at the end of the day, like I really want to make sure that I'm making my patrons happy. And this is though it's going to go out to my entire community to 3D print and enjoy, it's designed for this one person. I really want to make sure I nail that design concept. I love what you suggested though, and that would be a great request. I would encourage you to, I'm always trying to like coerce you guys to join my Patreon, because since you guys are also 3D modelers and designers, you have such fantastic ideas, and I really want to design your characters and ideas too. Dragon says, it's an automaton, right? Yes, absolutely. Hindsight says, I'm thinking like Jinx from Arcane. I know, it's such a good idea. It really is. All good stuff. All right, this is coming out better. Again, I just had to like really nail down that shape. This is coming out nicer. This is why you don't detail too soon. Say it like wagging my finger, because it's a note to myself just as much as it is to my students that are watching. All right, we have a much better shape here. It's a lot stronger. And less detail. I mean, it's funny how that works out, but yeah, look how much better that looks. Oh my goodness. Yay, I got it. I need to taper the ends a little bit when it connects to the head, just for like seams, but there you go. That's a jester. Excellent. All right, moving on from the hat for a little bit. Obviously it needs work because there's no detail on it, but if I work on it anymore, we're going to backtrack, and I can't have that. We made progress. I know this is a good stopping point. We're moving on. And then Hindsight is tattling. He says, Blaze is trying to take credit for my ideas. Netter. I'm not doing that. I'm adding. I love it. I love it. You guys are precious. Aloha says, guys, the past week me not only took away my resin food, but also assigned me to have fun. Are you tattling on like the tavern teacher/teacher? That's not how that works. Dragon says, once I get some more experience, I want to try to make one of my Pathfinder characters and then have you make it too. Do a noob versus pro comparison. That would be awesome. Yeah, you should do that. That'd be super fun. If you do, I'll make sure to tell you when I stream so you can be here too. Hindsight, you said the same thing I did, Silly Goose. Make the hair like a hat. Wolf, really odd question. How would you make a fishnet texture on a models? Great question. There are a couple different ways you can do that. So a fishnet texture, fishnet is something that'd be really easy to do using a noise modifier. You can sculpt it. However, I've done this technique before with other pinups I've done. Don't mind the disgusting colors. That's just the default it gives. I don't know why. All right, go away. So I'm showing you guys right now really quickly, but this is how you do fishnet. You open up this noise modifier and you can adjust the scale. So there you go. It's not a perfect fishnet and you'll need to continue to modify it. So check this out. I can rotate it to have like this diamond pattern, for example, and then making it a bit smaller. So obviously it requires some tweaking, but there's a very, very quick demo of how you would do fishnet. It's also inverted right now. It needs to be the other way. That's like a fish scale texture. So if you go to my strength and I invert it, it will go the other way. There you go. There's your fishnet texture. I love questions like that. Again, if you're being shy and you're a lurker and you're wanting to learn 3D modeling techniques, ask me. No questions too dumb. I love doing demos. And then Blaze says, well, Aloha, you need to have fun every once in a while. And then talking about a collab. Yeah, I'd love doing that. That'd be very fun. Blaze says nice. Yeah, isn't that cool? It actually kind of suits this character too. I'm not going to keep it because I'm going to be doing some diamond patterning later. But that is how you do it. Obviously, see how you have some weird glitching on the back here? That's where UV maps come in and I can place a seam. So a UV map is pretty much when you take like, think of like a cardboard box and when you break it down, you know, and it's completely flat. That's what I'm doing with a 3D model. That's what a UV map is. You take this model and you unwrap it and I can place where that seam is going to be. And in this case, I probably hide the seam on outside of her hip or on the inside of her thigh. And so that's where this design would overlap. And so it wouldn't be such an obvious distortion on her side. Though it does look kind of cool, actually. I'm going to leave that noise modifier on just because it looks cool. Taylor says, I imagine if you worked on the UVs of her legs somewhat, it'd project more accurately. That's so funny that I know there's a 20-second lag, so I got you. I read your mind before I even saw it. Beautiful. Blake says, believe me, I think I've asked dumb stuff, but I will still answer. Aloha says, you can also click Nanomesh tab with a specific texture you want to replicate across a wide area. Absolutely. Nanomesh works better when you're doing more like actual 3D objects, like a bunch of scales. So literal fish scales instead of fish net, for example. Great question. All right, we're an hour and a half in. I totally blasted right past my timer by accident because I'm just having a lot of fun. Thank you guys for being here. This is fantastic. All right, it's link time. I'm pretty sure most of y'all are you're already here. Like you've been here before, that's fantastic. But if you're new and lurking and want to hang out in our Discord, I'm gonna put another invite right directly in chat. It just says Discord and link. Come join. You don't have to chat if you don't want to, just lurk. We talk about 3D printing, tabletop games, all that kind of good stuff. So whether you're trying to learn how to 3D model or 3D print, there's someone there that can help you. I can do both. And the main gist of this and what this is all about, the reason why I can do this full time is because of Patreon support. So if you want, you can join for free. That is absolutely an option. It's right at the top here. I put that link in the chat too. You can join for free, hang out, see all the stuff that I'm posting. And then if you guys ever have free money that's loose or you just want to throw it at somebody, it's a pretty screaming deal. For 15 bucks a month, that's where you get to put in a request. $7 gets you access to my entire free printable library. There's literally hundreds of characters, beasts, scatter terrain, all that good stuff. If you're interested in just learning how to 3D sculpt, that's a whole separate thing. I can talk to you guys about that separately. But yeah, that's the gist. That's why I'm here. That's what I do. It's awesome. Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna take a brief 10-minute break. If you have more questions, put in the chat and I'll get back to them when I get back. This has been fun. I think we're gonna make a lot of progress in this model today. I'll be back soon. Hey. It was like a super short break. I just needed water. And then Ricky made like a cute little overlay with like mountains at the bottom and like a little tavern sign. So I'm gonna see if that just wants to play nice and drop in right now. If it does, great. If it doesn't, not a big deal. So you guys will see stuff move around in a bit here. There we go. Just something cute. I might have to tell him to make the mountains a little bit smaller. But just something cute. Oh, it wanted to go. It went away. Where'd you go? There it is. See if I can make it bigger. But yeah, I like the little mountains at the bottom. Kind of reminds me of like the Stardew Valley loading screen. Looks like it does kind of want to fight me. It doesn't want to just actually stay on the screen. But there's like a little preview, like just some cute little overlay. I think it'd be nice just to have. It's like a fun little thing. Oh, it's not looping, that's why. I can figure this out. There we go. Let me adjust this a little bit. Let's kind of play with it. The little birds are cute. He didn't put tavern, he spelled tavern correctly. So, I mean, that's the first thing that we gotta fix next time. All right, let's do a little bit of a recap here. So, there we go. Excellent. But yeah, so we did like a really quick mock-up here. It was like a little stream overlay. We're not like super attached to it or anything. So if you guys have like suggestions or ideas, let me know. I just think it'd be fun to have like a little something there. And the hanging sign I think is really cute at the top left. That I'm pretty attached to. The bottom though, we're pretty open to like design ideas and stuff. So yeah, just something fun. As of right now, we're gonna keep on working on this Jester Rogue until she is detailed and ready to get posed. If you guys want something different, that's an option. I have a little donation thing going right now where if y'all, I think it's at blue, it like specifies the color. Anyway, if you donate, you can hijack the stream. There's more details of that at the top. All right, I think we're all set. Let's keep on going, yeah? Excellent. All right, and we are continuing. I do want to get this detailed more, and then there are going to be some designs on, there's an embedded ornament on her chest. There we go. So yeah, it's Friday. Do you guys have any plans for the weekend? My weekend doesn't start until Sunday. I should take Sunday and Monday off. So I'll be here again tomorrow. All right, I'm looking for something fun to embed on her chest. Just like a little fun ornate detail. It looks like they have something from cards. Loa said having you behind the bar of the tavern could be cool. Would be for a lot of graphics though. That's an option. Yeah, so decorating the frame that I'm in to match that theme, I like that idea too. And then Dragon says, just use a screenshot, just like a PNG bartender. So instead of me, it's just like this static image. No, we're not doing that. I like this design a lot. So we're gonna keep this. A couple things make it 3D printable. We need to extrude it, so there's more material there. I'm gonna inflate it slightly to get rid of some of those hard edges, and then bring it up with the move brush so that it fits her body well. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Perfect. I think I need to make that a little bit smaller because it's just supposed to be like a little ornamental detail, not necessarily overpowering. There we go, something small. I'm gonna lower her collarbones as well. And then make this little neck detail smaller and better fitting. And then now we can actually kind of mess more with her hair because we can see what's going to be visible. Before we didn't really know, so I didn't mess with it too much. And then her eyes need to be adjusted a bit. He kind of gave him more of like this evil slant. There we go. It's a very subtle difference, but I think it adds a lot to the model. So this is where we're kind of getting into more of the secondary shapes now that I have the block out and or the primary shapes done. There we go. All right, this mask is looking more like a beak, and that's not what we want. So I'm waiting for the autosave to be finished, and then we can go ahead and adjust the silhouette here. It needs to be pointing straight down, but not beak-like. I'm gonna go in and crease these edges, so that way when I modify the whole shape, it's gonna kind of keep the integrity here. Also gonna crease around her eyes. There, that should sharpen things up considerably, making it look more mask-like. Still needs a lot of little fine adjustments, but we're making a lot of progress, aren't we? Excellent. Blake says, did you show the picture of the person sent you again? We have some new folks might benefit to see what you're working with. I think we're far enough along that I'm not too worried about showing that anymore. Clute. Yay, I chose a leader sculpt this time. Hey, appreciate you voting. I see Maverick's walking around. He wants me to pick him up. I did that one stream, and now he's gonna expect it every time. All right, those are some good adjustments there. And then I'm not sure how much I'm going to detail this out of before I move on. I think Michael is like, yes, Matt Petals. Also, welcome back. Sometimes when I see the same regulars enough times, I forget to give you guys the same big warm welcome that I did in the beginning. So I'm like, oh, it's just you again. Jokes, obviously. That might be blocked out enough to pose, and I can detail that out of symmetry later. Hello, it says Maverick appearance means the Discord polymorph allegations will resurface. And then Blaze says she needs a bit of a belt to carry her gold bag. But she doesn't have anything yet. She's gonna have rope darts and daggers. I'm trying to think of anything else. I like to keep it pretty simple when I pose. Hindsight says, for the record, I'm okay without the hullabaloo welcome. Sounds good. I'll make sure to just ignore you and we kind of be like, hindsight. I'm going to add one subdivision level here so that way when we do pose it, it has some good structure. But otherwise, I think I'm going to leave this alone, get this posed, and then worry about the fine details. So let's get this all prepared then. That means whatever is currently the leader in the poll is what I'm going to work on next, which looks like it's going to be the Biomechanical Lich. So if you want to see what I work on next, I would vote for it. If you vote for the Jester Rogue, that's what's happening right now, so that won't change anything. But it's up to you. You can vote for whatever you want. This we can structure a bit more right now because it's not going to move very much. All right, let's do a couple things here. This has been a fun character to work on though. I feel like we've made a lot of progress. All right, we're gonna insert an edge loop. And I wanna add a bevel or a seam or something to separate this a bit better. There we go. And then probably like some sort of like strap or stripes, my bad. There we go. Something real simple. That also complements the structure of the hat too. Okay, I like it. We're gonna make these eyelashes larger and more dramatic since they're really part of the mask, not so much her face. She still looks a little too sweet. You can kind of bring this imaginary brow down, kind of create that illusion with the mask. There we go. Almost looking kind of angry, but not quite. Blaze says, if you drop the back of the hat a bit, then you don't have to fuss with the hair in the back. That's true. If it was like here, more cap-like. I just wouldn't want to look odd. I would need to bring it down all the way across. You know, that is not a bad idea. We're gonna do that. Especially because that's not an area that's gonna like improve the entire model. It's not gonna add character or anything that's super impressive. So that's a win-win to do that. Good suggestion. I'm really digging this character. This is cool. I really want to detail it like crazy, but I just have to let the character be posed first. Hindsight says, I'm a father and a husband. Trust me, being ignored is my natural state of being. Oh goodness, self-roast. As long as you're happy with it. If not, I have no problem. I have a confetti effect. We can do confetti every time that you show up if that's what you want. Play says, I'm not giving bad ideas. I occasionally give good ones. Hey, you rarely give bad ideas, if ever. You just give them too early. Which I guess isn't really a problem. Michael says, really to hindsight, if you get a pug, you'll never feel ignored again. That is the truth. Oh my goodness. Hindsight says, oh good lord. You don't want the confetti welcome? Okay. It's an option. That's clearly what you said you wanted. That's what I heard. I think that's what everyone else heard too. All right, I think it'd be cool if she was holding like daggers in one hand that were like fanned out. So I'm gonna create this dagger here and kind of layer up 3 that are fanned out off to the side, and I'll let my husband know if he can to kind of like put them in her hand when it's posed. That'd be really cool. Something like that. I think that'd be really cool. And then she also has a rope dart. So let's go ahead and grab that. I have a rope that's coiled up in my asset library here that I've been working on. I might want to do a new one. I don't like this now that I've seen it. I'm like, I could do better than that. That's not my favorite. Nope, delete. We're gonna do it new. I already have a rope brush that does 90% of the work for me anyway, so let's do that. We're gonna grab a cylinder, flip it on its side. I'm gonna throw it up here, turn off perspective, and then load in my rope brush, and we'll kind of just draw a nice little spiral. I think this is the brush I wanted. Yes. Oh, I like that rope brush. I think it's called rope brush, yes. Much nicer. All right, and this was gonna be looped a few times with the tail hanging off of it. So we'll create the tail first. That's about, it's a little too thick. I'm gonna make it a little smaller by reducing the draw size on my brush. Check that out, so now it's smaller. So we have that piece, and then separately, I'm gonna have this. And the reason why I have a cylinder here is so it doesn't glitch out on itself. It kind of just gives it somewhere to be. Let's see if I can scribble on top of itself. You know, it didn't do fantastic, but it didn't do terrible. If I grab my move topological, I can probably pull it out. There we go. I can create that looping myself. Pretty cool. There we go. Now I can get rid of this. Add a bit of a sway here. And then, again, it's supposed to be like a rope dart. So we can grab this little blade that I made earlier and throw it on the bottom. We're gonna make it a lot thicker. And just like that, looks like we have a new weapon, don't we? Gonna make the blade longer, more dramatic. There we go, that looks painful. And all of these are separate pieces, so I can really easily modify this. And that's how you make a rope dart really fast. Cool, cool. So that'll be something else we can have fun posing her with. And in the meantime, let me go ahead and drop the resolution on this, because it doesn't need to be 88,000 points. I can drop it to like 15, and I can throw that into my asset library to be used for a character in the future. And that's exactly how my asset library builds. This is a pretty niche weapon. I've never had to make a rope dart before, but now that I've done it once, who knows? Maybe I'll do it again. I'll use it for a character in the future. Even though it didn't take long for me to make that, it adds up over time. And that's why I save everything. There we go. Got some more pieces. All right, what did I miss here? Y'all just being silly. Very good. All right, then we're gonna keep on modifying this. Her smile's a little too stiff and odd. I think he originally wanted her mouth to be open, actually, like a full smile. Does she have teeth? If she doesn't have teeth, we're not doing it. Oh, she does have teeth. Okay, we're gonna work on a smile. Expressions are tricky. Fortunately, this is a model that's supposed to be on the creepier side anyway, so I can kind of use that to my advantage. I'm using move topological to grab the mouth here, doing a bunch of small adjustments, and I'm going to mask under the nose because I don't want to actually deform her whole face. It's important that when you work on expressions, you rotate the head a lot. Because when you smile, you know, like this really is moving into your face. It's people think smile and they think like out. It's also going back. See how that looks so much more smile-like from the side, just pulling that back. Again, she's kind of a creepier character anyway, so I don't have to worry about this being like a beautiful smile. The top lip does not move a ton. The smile shape is largely created from the bottom. And then we're gonna need to move her teeth around to really make this work. Also, when you smile, this part tapers. It's hard to talk about it while smiling. So again, like this part of your lip will be wider and thicker, and then it'll taper as it gets pulled back into a smile. So right now it has that same thickness and it looks really odd, just like this. Obviously we're gonna fix that. And I also need to grab her teeth and do some adjustments here. Anyone that's just joined the stream, like, what is going on? I'm creating a smile. It's a silly process. So I'm making all of her teeth touch, give her that classic smile. I might give her some crooked teeth later just for some character and personality. Perfectly straight teeth are kind of boring. There we go. Excellent. And now we're gonna grab this and continue. It's gonna look really terrible until it doesn't. That's kind of that's why I don't introduce sculpting expressions for my students until they've had some confidence built up, because otherwise it usually drives them crazy. It's fun though. You just gotta be patient. Also, your top lip sticks out farther than your bottom. I'm making sure to really point out each large adjustment that I make, so that way you guys know why it's looking better. And everyone's smile is a little bit different, so don't be too hard on yourself when you're working on stuff like this. Hindsight says, if she's a construct, wouldn't her teeth be perfectly straight? I guess. I mean, it really just depends. They can be built however. Maybe it'd be more likely that she's missing teeth entirely. I don't know how much my bottom teeth show when I smile. Not really much. I feel like her teeth are too small right now. It's like just a little bit of her bottom teeth should be showing. There we go. And you just keep on working. It looks especially jarring when you mask those teeth and they're black, because we're so used to this being a lighter color, obviously. And I'm probably gonna add those like scary like marionette like doll like lines right here too. It's just gonna be scary all over. I need to add a little bit more volume back here because she's getting a little too sunken in. Same goes for her jaw. And then we have a little bit of this bowing effect here. So it looks good here and it looks fine from the front. But from here you can see that it's a little too flat. So we can go ahead and fix that too. Expressions are a whole can of worms, y'all. And I want it to be like this kind of subtle. So if you really want to make it look sweet, the big part is making it touch the eyes. So look how, okay, I know it's scary either way and she's bald, but bear with me. Before, after, before, after. See how this little change here just makes it like, okay, that's less horrifying, right? But since she's a construct and she's wearing a mask, you can kind of lean into it. We can kind of let this like dead-eyed smile be a part of this character here. Because I imagine she would not be terribly friendly. That's not really how he described this character to me. This request is definitely on the spookier side. And since she is a construct, I kind of want to play with these forms too. And making it short, but I don't want to remove too much volume from her face. Also, these dimples that appear up here are way too high and they're weird. If I want to add them later, that's fine, but that's not where they go. There we go. Smooth that out. And then bring back my new topological brush because we don't really have that taper I was talking about earlier. Hide the teeth because you don't want to distort the teeth. That's scary. Goodness. No teeth. It's like, can it get worse? Can it get scarier? You bet. This is where having a mentor is really important, and my students can attest to this because I've had students just like quit at this point. And I'm like, guys, you got us to stick with it. It's gonna look worse before it looks better, and it's fun. Just let it look silly. She looks like that kid that doesn't want to smile for pictures. Taylor suggests maybe some teeth can be shaped like diamonds or spades or clubs. Ooh, that's a fantastic idea. And then hindsight about the teeth being straight. Just trying to save you, justify you saving work. It's just because making teeth crooked is so easy. If I grab my Move Topological brush, I can literally just like move some teeth really quickly. But I appreciate it. Aloha said, hey Mia, would it be annoying if I was to sub to the other Patreon or to grab one of those golden request tickets and then unsub? I don't 3D print, so I don't have much personal use for the Patreon. Yeah, that's absolutely okay. I wouldn't, if y'all want to support me for a month, grab something, leave, that's a-okay. It all supports me, it's all great. It's not like once you're in, I'm like, okay, you're here for life. Blaze says, just out of curiosity, how many folks that make requests show up to help with the drawing idea or the sculpting idea? I would say 20%, less than half for sure. They're just excited to see me do it. They might watch the live stream after the fact, but I mean, a lot of times when I stream, people are at work, so. All right, and then if we want to make this just look absolutely scary, let's see how much I can like really pull these teeth into something disturbing. Because if you look at, I will show the request again. The request has like this really, and they don't usually draw something. This requester has supported me for a long time. They're above and beyond. It's like this big spooky smile. But I'm kind of just playing with it. I might even get rid of it entirely. I'm just having fun right now. I do think spooky smile suits this character though. I might give her little fangs. I will actually crease that a little bit. I can't help it. It's gotta touch her eyes at least a little bit. It's so weird otherwise. And then I'm gonna give her little fangs because I can do whatever I want. It's not this one. It's way over here. Okay. Sorry, don't mind me just sticking my fingers in my mouth. I'm just checking how far over that tooth is. I could do this one for clarity, but I think it's the teeth that are right next to it. It's these ones. I don't know why, I think giving her a couple like little spiky teeth would be really cute. So I'm gonna make these teeth a little smaller so I have room to bring in those canines even further. It's such a small detail on a 3D print, but it's fun. And we're here to have fun, are we not? They little spiky teeth. All right, I don't like how like pushed out that bottom lip is. So I'm gonna fix it. Two different ways I can fix it. I can push it back, or I can pull this top part forward. As you probably guessed what I'm gonna do. I can also make her chin divot a little less severe. That's weird too. Again, it's like I want to be like somewhat accurate, but I want it to be scary and creepy and weird too. So it's kind of like finding that balance. And then if I wanted to add those like classic doll lines, it'd be somewhere right here. They would need to be really, that is not right, really clean cut though. There we go. Something like that. And I do think it'd be interesting if she had some, I'm not sure if I can get that to be visible, but like, you know, like the like teardrops, you know? But the thing is, she has that mask on, so maybe I'll put those teardrops on her mask. Oh, she's looking really, really creepy. Very good. And I'll have that similar theme of the construct coming throughout the model, so probably have some lines that cut right here and maybe even follow her collarbones. I think it'd be interesting if she had some like almost like circuitry, like these plates. Right now I'm literally just scribbling on the model to kind of like just play. I do want her to have like these joints that are gonna be really apparent. I really encourage any artist to do stuff like this where you like scribble or sketch on your model and really just think about, just have fun, play with it. You can refine the idea later. You don't have to just imagine everything in your head all the time. Yeah, something kind of like that. More of that character is coming through. If her ears show, dagger earrings. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I even have these little like groups already. Let's see if I can add these. It'd be a small detail, but like so fun. Seeing if I can make that kind of complement what's already there. So I'd remove one of them. Maybe just do a pair. Maybe just do a single. Probably make her ears bigger if I'm gonna do this. Oh, I need to undo these scribbles I did. I'll keep the lines on her chin. There we go. And yeah, we're definitely not going for cute. Clute mentioned it's really hard to find that balance between creepy and cute. No, we're going full creepy. Jester, nah, she's creepy. All right, I'm gonna make her ears a bit bigger. Literally just going to pull them around and throw a quick inflate on them. Just so I have more earlobe to put them on. That's a really small detail. I think it's worth it though. Yeah, it's worth it. It's cute. Actually, it's kind of cute. Swirl marks on the joints. Yes, and then we have a fun Saw reference going too. Yep, yep. So when I do this, it's gonna be after its pose. I'm gonna do it out of symmetry. We'll have these joint lines, which will look more like this. Literally just kind of scribble these on for y'all right now, just so you know what's going on. So again, that's gonna make it look very constructy, and at the center, very good idea, Taylor, to throw this swirl on here. Yeah, that's gonna be killer. Since it looks kind of creepy, well, too creepy right now because it also looks like it's carved into her flesh, but she's a construct, so that's not true. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll do clay polish, and that will give me more of that flat surface look. Oh, don't crash, ZBrush. I'm just doing a quick demo. Cool. So you can kind of see more of those hard surface textures coming through. You can also just manually do it. Anyway. I gotta stop scribbling on the model because I'm gonna forget and I'm gonna leave these marks here. And then it's gonna be more work for me to undo later. Cool. Yeah, embroidered teardrops on the mask for sure. Yes, I can do that. I can do that. Blaze says, the lurkers and new folks are gonna think we're all just a bunch of creeps. Yeah, it's okay. Well, eventually you guys went from lurkers to talkers, so it happens eventually. One of us. I think that's cute. See how I like pushed her chin right there? Breaking some rules anatomically, but I don't care. I like that weird little creepy smell. And then we're gonna add those teardrops onto her mask. Two things are important here. One, change it from 1C to continuous C, and that will make it so it follows the contour of the mask. And then two, I have that taper effect already put on here. All right, we're gonna have some... Thank you, Hindsight, for commenting on this again, because I'd already forgotten. There and there. All right, damn, how freaking cute is that, guys? Ah. Keep saying it like, no, she's creepy, not cute. I think they're the same thing sometimes. Awesome. Awesome. Hindsight, aren't we though? Aren't we? Yeah, we're a little creepy. Cool. This is a fun one. Yeah, look how much progress we've made from this model on the left here and how much more personality there is in doing that face. Even though the mini is going to be this big. Let me grab one that's... Everything I have up here is either a fairy or a mermaid. That's whatever. She's going to be this big, which is super small. But you will be able to see all those face details and that creepy smile in those joints. It's worth it. Alrighty. Let's get this prepared for posing. We're not going to have the surface modifier on here. I'm going to detail these separately later. If I put all low, let's see how much I have to change to get this ready. Another important thing is you don't want your subtools having the same name. Otherwise, it makes the ZBrush unhappy. I'm gonna quickly rename these. Thank you guys for hanging out. It's always a good time. I feel very lucky to have a community like you guys. Just, I don't know. I always know someone's gonna be around chatting with me while I work. And I worked for years, you know, not live streaming. I didn't mind it. I gotta say, it is more fun doing it with people watching. I also forget that you guys, you know, you share your own insight, your own creative ideas, and it does make the model better. It becomes this really cool kind of like a collaborative art process, which is something that I didn't anticipate happening at all. I'm merging all these pieces down right now because I don't need to have all these separate subtools. There we are. Continuing my rename process. Hindsight, don't be weird. Alright, hair looks good. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually never really considered myself much of an artist until the last like 6 years. I play piano and I play guitar, and music is it's easier to collaborate and do things together and with music. Art tends to be more of like the solitary process. So it's just cool. Live streaming has kind of bridged that gap. All right. I think we're all set here. Just reducing poly count on some of these that don't need to be there. The daggers on her hip, I'm just gonna remove entirely for right now because that'll all come together in the pose. Very good. All right, pretty nice and simple here. Not crazy detailed, really not detailed at all. That will come together once we repose, and then there'll be minimum distortion. I'm gonna merge visible to do a check to see what we're sitting at poly count wise. We're sitting at just over 300,000, which is a little too high for character creator. So there's probably hiding somewhere, likely the hair if I had to guess. Yes, I was correct. Hair is kind of a hot mess. Jeez. It looks good with the hat on. By itself, not so much. All right. And then Clute mentioned they sent one of their models out to a mini painter recently. Joe. All right, cool. I don't know mini painters by name, but I bet you if I saw his work, I'd probably know. Either way, very exciting. And then Blaze says, is it possible to model in colors, the idea of how it looks? I used to do that. Mia stopped poly painting. I really just forgot, honestly. I can do that with models moving forward. Hindsight says, it's possible, but anytime you add anything, you're gonna have to color it. Yeah, I don't mind. I have a lot of streams where I pretty much poly painted everything, actually. If that's something you guys want to see, absolutely. I can start doing that again. Michael says, since my background's in illustration, I have found working in color helps me with design. That is why I did it originally, and there kind of came a point where I didn't need it. It was just like a fun thing that was extra. It wasn't actually influencing the design in any way. But again, it's fun, so I can do that. Blaze said, what happened to the fishnet? You want to take it back off? I never wanted to do it. Someone just asked for a demo. She's actually going to have two asymmetrical patterns here, one with stripes and both having diamonds on the hips. So that is what is going to end up actually being. But I had it just sitting up there because it was fun and it was just like a one button click. So it's not a memory or ZBrush issue. No, not at all. Good question. Clute says, I also find that painters sometimes struggle with color palette, so offering color render helps give them a reference to work from and give ideas. Honestly, this is harsh. If I was paying someone or sending my models to someone to paint and like they came back with a poor color palette or had trouble with it, I would hard roll my eyes because I'm like, that's their job. You know what I mean? It is fun to give them an idea. If you have a very specific thing in mind that you're trying to get them to capture, absolutely. But if they're just struggling with color palette, I'm like, that's part of being a painter. All right, anything else here? I need the sleeves to be separate pieces. Otherwise, character creator has a meltdown. Now let's merge visible and see where we're at. 200,000 points. Beautiful, super low poly, very, very pose ready. Excellent. We are having a couple issues with character creator 4 keeping detail. So I'm actually gonna throw a seam on here that we can use to double check to see if we're able to keep detail. Otherwise, I probably would detail some of these a bit more before posing. Sweet. And that shouldn't affect the final poly count. Nope, all good. Beautiful. There we go. That'll be a nice easy check too. Clute says, you'd be surprised how many professional main painters struggle with color. Yeah, that's a good use of scare quotes. But I do the renders for the non-professional painters. That makes sense. All right, throw us in download, and this will be our Jester Rogue construct. Not looking super constructing right now. That will come when we add joints and whatnot. All right, oop, almost threw my pen. All right, this has been a dense stream. I like it. Hindsight says, to be fair, a lot of them, talking about professional mini painters or amateurs that call themselves professionals, Hindsight says, a lot of them cut their teeth on Warhammer 40k armies, so they have their palette dictated to them and call themselves pro because they can mimic in quantity. That's pretty accurate. Blaze says, yep, especially with contrasting colors, blue and red are good, but if the uniform doesn't call for it, if it needs something different. Very true. It's one of the reasons it's so fun to talk to you guys in live streams and ask questions is you guys are pretty level-headed and have some really good background to, like, the way you answer questions. It's not just like, I feel like, or accusatory. It's a good balance. Clute says, Joe is an actor that plays D&D. His main painter is named Steve Oakes. Okay, cool, cool. All right. This has been finished and uploaded, or not finished, but ready to get posed. We got 2 of those queued up, and they are like a set. Pretty awesome. All right, now we're gonna work on this Biomechanical Lich. This one is gonna be some work. I'm excited. All right, we are starting a new model, and that requires confetti. All right, let's get the new one going. I'm gonna stream for about 30 more minutes, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Since you guys mentioned kind of missing poly paint, let's poly paint. The way I do that is a little bit different of a process. I have a skin shade on, and then I'm gonna bump up my ambient occlusion like to the max. I'm also gonna, my lighting setup now matters. So I'm gonna put a light up here, and then another one, kind of like a bounce light to the right. There we go. Is it gonna be like a skeleton? Pretty much. I'm gonna keep this really bulky frame here just to keep him from not being a nightmare to 3D print. All right, Biomechanical Lich time. Let's go. This is gonna be a lot of sculpting from scratch and constructing, but there's some pieces I can kind of grab to start with. I'm gonna be playing a lot with silhouette here and just general spooky interest. So I'm pretty much just gonna like sketch in 3D, and once I have a sketch that's good enough or that I'm happy with, I'll call it an end to the stream and we'll resume tomorrow. I have a lot of ideas in my head, so you're gonna be seeing a lot happen pretty quickly here. This is the model. I got this request a couple months ago, and I immediately knew I was gonna have a lot of fun with it, so I've been kind of drafting it in my head almost for a few months. So I'm really excited to get it all actually realized. It's one of those requests, like an instant hit. Like everyone's gonna love a Biomechanical Lich. And that's all they gave me. There's no other details. They just said, be artistic, go nuts. And I'm like, hey, that's what I'm good at. All right, let the poly painting begin. It is a Lich, so it's not going to be like super colorful, but I can still have fun with it. I think since it's a Biomechanical Lich, it'd be cool if it was like made in gold to some extent. So we're going to be seeing these golden colors and accents coming throughout, and they keep the body pale underneath and then create this bone mechanical structure on top of it. So it might even come out a little steampunk. All right, let's see. Blaze says, I'll be interested to see how you turn something like that into a skeleton body. Yep, especially be 3D printable. It's quite the layering process. He'd have a cloak with a hood, wouldn't he? That's really funny if you said that. Like, yep, already happened. Foxy, too much hair. So much hair. What are you talking about? I think I missed one of your comments. Blaze says, you streaming on Saturday? Probably, yeah. Clute, I did a biomechanical lich 2 years ago. I refer to him as Mechna Vecna. Oh, beautiful. Mechna Vecna. Yeah, hindsight agrees. Nice. So it's gonna be a lot of playing with shapes here. Again, we're kind of doing like a dirty sketch in 3D, if that's kind of what you think about it. Just like I did with the Jester, I don't get too attached to any one thing, and I'm more than happy to re-sculpt things nicely later, but in the beginning, just play with it. Yeah, I like that a bit better. I'll just pull that back more. I don't want to hide too much of his face. I'm gonna grab his jaw, expose that further down. There we go. All right, we got something going there. And he's also gonna have none of this, really. I thought I did do a breastplate that had bones on it at some point. I don't know what happened to that. I can just redo it. Make it from scratch. Make it better. He is gonna have that classic kind of drapery. And then a lot of bones and a lot of metal. That the name of this subtool is Pant Swoosh. Yeah, a lot of this isn't gonna be visible right here, so I'm probably gonna grab this part of his body. Look at that face. A face only a mother could love. Okay. We're gonna see how much we get done here in 30 minutes. If autosave will ever stop. I can't do anything when it says autosave. I mean, you can, but you'll just crash the program. Probably won't talk as much right here because I'm just kind of like in the zone. But I'll try to not neglect the chat too much. You guys have some good questions coming in. You can always put at M3DM. It puts my name in gold, so it's easier for me to see out of the corner of my eye. But if not, just sit back and enjoy the art. I got plans. Okay, that thing I just did right there was cooler than I anticipated. Can't take credit for that completely. I appreciate you guys kind of letting me be in the zone here. I know I'm not being terribly chatty. It's because I got ideas I want to play with here. And a lot of stuff's going to change pretty quick here. If you're just tuning in, you can like jump back in the live stream like 10 minutes. It looked completely different. For now, I'm playing with the silhouette and really just finding some fun, interesting shapes. I'm gonna give him really long, spindly, scary looking fingers too. Probably gonna do some manual claw work as well. I see the chat's moving quite a bit. I'll get to you guys in just a moment here. Kind of in the zone right now, so I don't wanna answer any questions quite yet. Usually we're pretty on the same page. You guys will suggest things or ask questions right before I do them or after. So I'm gonna wait a second until something's happening. This is about how fast I work when I'm not streaming. Streaming does slow me down a little bit, but it's so fun to talk to you guys. I don't mind. But I have alluded before of like how quickly I can concept ideas when it's all I'm doing. I am getting better with making this speed closer to, like it's the same whether I'm streaming or not streaming. I'm working on that. Right now we're working on the Lich aspect and not so much the biomechanical. But you can kind of, if you got an eye for it, you can kind of see some of like that shape theory. It's like kind of, it's like a foundation for that coming soon. I have this really cool anatomy brush that will kind of let me create some of this creepiness really quickly. But a lot of this, it's going to be 3D modeled on top. I'm just going to use this as like a guide, and it's not going to be accurate to anatomy. It's just going to be cool. That one I might want to wait on though until I actually get those shapes put on. butt just been out this whole time. Sorry, dude. There you go. Alright, I'm creating a copy of the body that has no subdivision levels, and I'm doing that so I can add curve brushes on top of it without having an issue. This is where the biomechanical is going to start coming in. Because if not, you can't use curve brushes on a model that has subdivision levels. You can freeze them and reconstruct them if you have perfect quads, but I never trust it. There's gonna be a lot of layering that happens here. This is just gonna be layer 1. And all the while thinking about interesting form and shape. Again, I think we're like 15 minutes into the sculpt. I'm just excited it looks like anything. I'm making these really bold and exaggerated so that way they catch paint really nicely. And it's gonna be one of those standout parts of the model. Also cutting in that hip bone pretty strong. Another crease, I wanna catch paint. Also gonna come in with my standard brush and start roughing up this texture. Can do the same thing with clay without poly paint, thank you. There we go. Just creating a bit more of a mottled texture here. Looks like chipped away. It literally looks like, if you can see my hand, like scribbling. There we go. I'm gonna take these bones here and zero mesh them by half to get a cleaner look. So that's the before, that's the after. He's looking a bit like an angel. I'm not mad about it. His neck is not long enough, we can handle that later. I can actually really quickly iterate on that by just moving this up. I like to give my characters pretty long necks, especially when they're spooky like this. When I do jump in the chat, there's a couple questions I'm going to be looking for. If you guys, I want to know definitively if you guys like the poly paint. Obviously not a whole lot's happening right now, but it's definitely more than it was before, which is nothing. So if that's something that you're enjoying, let me know. Because it does take some time, but it's not enough to where I would be unhappy to do it. So if it's adding anything to the stream, just let me know. We've got a really cool thing going here. Again, this is kind of like what I call a 3D sketch or a 3D scribble. It's getting a lot of concepts down rapidly. There we go. I don't know if you guys have seen me do this before on stream, so this is fun. All right, I got something insane looking that looks like a thing. I don't know how long it took me. 15 minutes? 30? Just really quick. All right, let's see if you guys have any questions for me. Oh, you guys talked a lot. Oh, Wolf in all caps, cook, cook, cook. Yes, that's exactly what was happening. Thank you guys for just letting me do that. All right, we're having some good talk about here about biomechanical, some references about Geiger, xenomorphs. Good, good, good. Blaze, well, now he has to have a necklace. You are grown on me. Maybe like a tumor. No, I'm just joking. You are really grown on me. We have like inside jokes already. I love that. Aloha says the poly paint adds a nice underline to your blockout so we can see the ideas we're having. Okay, I can do that. Yeah. Clute says these forms are reading more celestial and Art Nouveau at the moment. Yes, I don't. I'm gonna keep going though. Hindsight says re-poly paint. I think it's more visually interesting for the stream, but it's not how I would do my process in private. Yeah, I'm happy with it. And then Blaze, he won't have muscled arms, would he? Haven't touched those. Clute, no, she's leaving some of the bulk there. Then maybe a Lich needs some more gates. Otherwise it ends up being really easy to get too thin and fragile. Yeah. Also, hasn't really been touched there quite yet. I actually have a reference of how I'm going to make the arms. I'm going to build it on top of these. Let's see if we can do that now, actually. Oh, first, let me just throw a stamp up here. All right, let's get in here. There's a really interesting brush that's already in ZBrush that I can kind of play with. I have to find it first because I don't use it very often, but every time I see it, I'm like, oh, that's fun. I will use that one day, and then I forget it exists. Oh, this is one of the pieces that I wanted, so we'll throw that in there now. I'm gonna modify my brush so that it sits deeper into the mesh. All right, we've got one piece. I'm gonna have similar form building and shape language throughout. So you'll see identical pieces kind of popping out, but just having different purposes. Now, where's that brush I was talking about earlier? I am a model kit. Yep, this was it. What's that? It's also not grabbing my poly paint now. I don't know why. Come on. Maybe I have to add that to it later. That's fine. There we go. Delete hidden. Being silly. All right, now we're gonna start constructing what's making this Biomech. I got some ideas. Largely having to do with using this kit here. It's gonna be a lot of big strokes and changes. Why is this not poly painting? Driving me crazy, ZBrush. There we go. Oh, I had my paintbrush turned to 0. That will do it. All right, figured it out. Problem solved. Fixed. Half the time I say ZBrush is driving me crazy, it's me. I am driving me crazy. All right, where were we? Here we go. It's fun looking at the chat after I've gotten a lot done. I think sometimes I get caught up in responding to you guys as you go, and I'm realizing now that you're just like riffing as I sculpt. I'm like, oh, duh. So I'm gonna let that happen, and then I'm gonna keep getting stuff done. I think it's one of those things where I can better answer your questions by showing rather than telling. You can kind of see why I kept this arm underneath and why I kept it so bulky, and how I'm going to be constructing this metal arm on top of it. I might delete the form underneath it entirely, I might keep it. It kind of serves as a guide to keep things proportional. There we go. You can really start seeing some of that Biomech coming in. Oh, interesting. They have some larger assemblies here, like this hinge. Yeah, I can use that. And it looks like it rotates, you know, because it's a hinge. That's fun. I can build around that. It's really flimsy, though. Let's fix that. Chunk that up so it 3D prints. Bam. I think it'd be nice if this was more front-facing. It's a really interesting design. Can build off of that to look kind of like wings. Maybe I'll hide these and play with this form here more. I just liked that shape, that silhouetting. That's why I kept those pieces there. I might replace them with this mechanical collar almost. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. So you guys will kind of start to see why I keep things and why I build things the way that I do, and then I throw them away just as quickly. Because what I'm looking for isn't the final answer. I'm looking for a sketch of the idea. If you have questions about that, please let me know. The more transparent and clear I can make my process, the more people that can learn from it. What this is missing is that spire silhouette. So all I need to do is pull these metal bars outward. If I push these in right here, we're gonna get this more spiderweb effect, but I need to be careful with that because otherwise it's not gonna look as metal. I do want to preserve that still. Curious if I'm gonna do this asymmetrically or mirror. I'm unsure. The design playing continues. This is a good time to look up and kind of see the direction of where this is going versus where we were. As you can see, it continues to iterate and grow. It's fun. Grab the color. There you go. Starting out playing with the shapes at the bottom, I'm imagining like these biomechanical like spires. But I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet. So for now, I'm just gonna put them back. Yeah, I might do that. I don't know. If you're wondering who I was talking to there, it was me. I was talking to myself. Sorry if that was confusing. All right, there we go. And this is the way that I concept and I really iterate quickly when I was dealing with clients more often. Because a lot of times they wouldn't know what they wanted until I showed them lots of examples. So I would just do a bunch of like sketches like this essentially, almost like a storyboard. not a storyboard, but like a mood board, and then they'd pick like, oh, I like 1 and 5 or a combo of this. And I noticed it really just made everyone happy. All right, I think I'm gonna go with like a spine motif here on the hips. There's something I want to do here. It's looking a little matronly. I think I'm gonna put a giant hole in his chest. Yep. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I'm gonna do something with it. These spikes here were fun. I just threw them on there in case I want to do something with them. They don't make sense. Go away. That was just part of the playing process, but not for the keeping. All right, let's continue with this. I have a tube brush here that I think I might create a bunch of wires. They need to be rougher than that. I'm cooking, still getting stuff done. I'll check in with you guys really soon though. This is kind of a different part of my stream. I don't normally do this. I usually am a lot more engaged, chat for chat, so to speak. But you know, it's the end of the stream. I think it's mostly our community hanging out here that knows me. So I'm gonna kind of take advantage of that and really just focus. Normally it's this kind of stuff that I would do off stream only, but I think you guys are still enjoying this. If not, that's a-okay. We'll talk about it in just a little bit here. I'm always open to your guys' feedback. As of right now, this is really fun for me. I'm trying to hide this so I can work underneath it. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna use more of that throughout the model. That's a fun design element I quite like. All right, we're still going. This is a really fun hot mess. Oh, I don't want this in there anymore though. There we go. It's coming out kind of feminine, actually. I like that. It's got a little distorted, which is fine. This is just like a placeholder thing. I don't know if I can salvage that. Sure. I need something, a vertical detail here. Maybe that's where these will come in. I'm gonna hide them, grab just one section, and kind of play with this a little bit. I know I said I was gonna check in with you guys like 5 minutes ago and I haven't yet. I am aware. Not that you guys are complaining, you're very self-sufficient over there. Yeah, something like that. I'll just keep that in mind for later. These hip things are cracking me up. I need something more complicated than those bulky hip things. It needs to be something more like this. Gosh, the temptation to give this model wings is strong. Maybe something like this, and then I might even build this into the pose where there are wires and they're kind of like keeping him together. Does that make sense? Here, let me show it to you. Like this. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Something like this. Now it's really becoming something insane. I think I like it. And yeah, this block doesn't make sense. Go away. That was an interesting idea. This thing, but I don't like it as much anymore. Delete again. All right. I'm really glad ZBrush didn't crash. I'm gonna save right now because I was doing stuff pretty quickly and it would have been a huge bummer. All right, I see someone pinged my name. I'm gonna be right there. All right, we're gonna do this color. Just gonna add a little fun poly paint moment here. There we go. All right, that's really looking cool. All right, I'm back. Mechanical heart. Yes, we will be doing that. Ooh, I like that you guys are still talking. I like the hands. Thank you. Very good. Hindsight, Mia, I'm telling you, look up Necron Lord from Japery Metal. Also, Aloha needs attention again. I'm sorry, Aloha. Mia, can you show the drag thing again with those dress up tools going down to the feet? Yes, ma'am. All right, so the way that you do that, you could take a piece. So let's say like this, right? And what you do is you hold down Command or Control from Windows with the 3D Gizmo open. So first, open 3D Gizmo W. That brings up this thing. Then hold down Command and grab one of these arrows, click and drag. If you let go of Command while you're still holding down click and drag, it will auto duplicate all the way down. Not cool? At the same space that you dictated. If you need one more demo of that, let me know. I'm happy to share again. I'm killing Aloha. I'm sorry. Places, how thick are those? Won't they be rough to print like that? Nah, these don't even need supports. These will just print as they are. I'll adjust it as needed. I mean, as of now, we're very much so in that concepting stage. Or I need to look up what Hindsight was talking about. And then Blaze says, I'm thinking Egyptian pharaoh. Ooh, that'd be, I mean, that's probably right, spot on. I like that idea. All right, Necron Lord. Specifically from, Necron Lord for Drapey Metal. Gotcha. Oh yeah, this is very similar to kind of that idea that I had going on. Thank you. Cool. Hello. Yay, thanks guys, we did it. I know I abandoned you guys for a while. Usually I'm better about that. All right, I think this concept, how quickly this iterated and how fun that was, I think that's a good stopping point. I'm just hit the 3-hour mark. This was pretty dense right here. This will still go through some iterations and some fun, but we have some really strong ideas forming here, and I think it's some good stuff. I do. The temptation to keep playing with it is strong, but at some point I need to just leave it alone and move on. I do like this idea of making this more diamond shaped though, so I'm gonna throw that in there first. Okay. But yeah. Blaze says, oh, the part in the back he made out of bones. Yes. Okay. Damn it, I'm trying to move on, but I can't because the ideas are too good. I have a skeleton, or the IMM Dragons brush. I'm gonna throw that spine on the back. That's gonna be hugely cool. I know there's a spine assembly on here. Ideas are too good. Sternum, not quite. Back vertebrae. Here we go. All right, so a piece like this. I'm gonna make it its own thing. And then this drape, let's just cut half of it off and hide it for now, because I think it just needs to be draping in the front. Cool. And so we'll have this piece right here. And then I don't have the in-between sections right now, which is fine. We're also gonna flip this 180, even though it's not technically accurate. It'll make it so I don't have to support each one of these, and that's a win. So backwards it's gonna be. See how it's curving upward instead of down now? Pretty sure that's inaccurate. All right, we have this piece based, and now we can add more of them. Just like this spiny thing. Yeah, that's cool. I don't like how long they are. So let's smooth that down. There we go. And then make it shinier. Or the back darker, either works. There we go. And paint. I just had to get that down really quick so I don't forget to develop that idea when we come back tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Again, I stream most days. I don't have like a strict schedule. That's gonna be fun. Cool idea. Look how far we've come from this one on the left. They need to have the centerpiece still, like what makes it actually vertebra. I'm missing the connectors, but I'll see that and I'll know what that's for. All right. Let's go ahead and throw a fun, spooky render on this. Merge visible, duplicate. All right, there we go. Aloha says, I love it. Already one of my favorites of yours. Thank you. There's a good, nice render going. I think they're gonna be happy with this. It's not done by any means. This is just like some chaos in the last 30 minutes of the stream. But this is what happens when you guys give me a request that's vague. They literally said a biomechanical lich, that's it, go nuts. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. Hindsight says, a dragon slayer that makes bladed armor out of hollowed out dragon spinal segments. Smells like a character concept. It sure does. I love that idea. Whew, okay, that was a lot at the end there. That kind of, my brain is full now. That was fun. That was fast. So yeah, I think polypaint was a win. I think that made things more interesting. It added like no time for my process, so I'm happy to do that again in the future. Thanks for speaking up. Tell me what you want and then I'll do it. All right. I think a lot of you guys are already hanging out in the Discord and whatnot. I'm gonna throw another quick invite. I'm laughing at Aloha's jokes in the Discord like always. So for anyone that is lurking, there we go. Blaze says, I hope I can be that fast at some point. You will, I believe it, honestly. Just like the enthusiasm, the eye for detail, and for just concepting that you have, I'm really excited to see the artist that you become. For anyone that's lurking, I have pressured you, like, not just kidding, but feel free to join Discord. If not, continue lurking. Thank you for being here, honestly. I am a fellow lurker. I do not talk in any streams unless I am literally the content. This was a lot of fun though. We're gonna do a full link dump right now. And what that means is a little context here. So if you're new, hey, my name is Mia. I make requests. That's my whole point. I make 3D printable requests. You say your DDing characters, monsters, all that kind of cool stuff. There's a link for that. And then if you want to learn how to sculpt, I teach too. A few of my students are actually lurking in the chat right now. It's a mentorship program. It's one-on-one. It's me teaching you. That's the whole point. I do have videos I provide that you follow, but really, I just teach you one-on-one. We all have a private DM in Discord where I give you an assignment, you complete it, and I keep giving you new assignments. And they're all bite-sized. Like an example of an assignment would be like, hey, here are 5 brushes. Actually, they're my most common brushes. They're ones right here at the right of my screen. Play with those. tell me what you think and get back to me, and then we'll expand on that. Any questions you have, I kind of just answer on the fly. And you can always just join the live streams and ask me questions live too. But yeah, those are my 2 things. That's my whole business. I've been doing this for 6 years. Very lucky my husband and I make a very comfortable living. We're actually looking at buying a house the next year, you know, if interest rates are ever below 7%. But anyway, very exciting. I never thought, you know, I never expected to be where I'm at now, but I'm grateful for it literally every single day. Being in the streams, having you guys join in, just being delightful. It's delightful. So thanks for being here. I stream most days around noon Eastern time. I start as early as 11 a.m., as late as 1 p.m., but generally around noon is when I actually go live. So yeah. Yeah, great tavern shift today. Thank you guys for being here. If you have any questions, now's the time to pop in and ask. Or just like really strong telepathy, ask me. Maybe I will just randomly answer it. We'll see. Blaze has a great video. Yeah, I'm glad it was helpful. Especially if you going to that seminar. I've been really trying to think about things I want to show you and expose you to before you see them for the very first time at that seminar, because the more that you're vaguely familiar with, the more you'll be able to absorb when you do go to that seminar. If it's all just brand new, you're gonna fill up immediately, right? But I'm hoping this will give you a nice little head start. So when you go, you'll see some cool stuff and you'll really understand it. So yeah, I'm excited. I see Mini Buddha just joined Discord. Hello, welcome. I'm assuming that you're from the stream, but it's so funny if you're not. If you're just like someone that was like on my Patreon or out in the wild. And Blaze says, yeah, I figure I'd start playing around with it. Nice. I hope it works. Yeah, of course it will. I think you're gonna do great. Or just mean your computer won't be able to run it. I think so. Aloha says, I really feel like this stream is a great future reference for new students or artists blocking out and building up a concept. Yeah, so I hope, I mean, just be honest with me. How did you guys feel about that? I kind of ignored you for like 10 minutes and then just went nuts, concepting really quickly. That is the way that I work when no one's here. If that's fun, maybe I can have like different zones or different like sections of the stream where I have like the rapid concept, like I'm not going to talk to you guys for 15 minutes at a time, but then I'll join back in. Yeah. Blaze says, what did you do to create the base? So there's no base on this model right now, but as far as the base I do use for my other models, just like standard mini base, like what's on like these guys, for example, I just created that in the Z modeler brush. So it's just a cylinder that I tapered. Hindsight says, when the flow is on, let it take you. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that in the future. Sometimes I kind of baby the chat. I don't need to. You guys are like totally doing your own thing and you're fine. I'm so appreciative that you guys are here. So, you know, I want to be attentive. I want to pay attention. Aloha says, yeah, just go for whatever feels best at the time. Some models are naturally slower and some models like this piece itself together. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Thank you. I really appreciate the input. It means a lot. All right, well, I think that's everything. Usually I do fake screen just for a second. Blaze says, as a noob, it was helpful to do the slower, but after those, that was fine. Okay, good. So maybe I'll stick with my current flow where I always, whatever character in the beginning, it's nice and like it's slower. I talk about it more, and then I will zoom at the end if I'm feeling up for it. Hindsight says, Aloha is a good babysitter. She is. She does a really good job answering questions for people and just being on it. So yeah. Unofficial mascot is what I always think of. All right, guys. I'm gonna call it. If you have any questions, you can leave them somewhere. Join the Discord and ask a question there, because I'm not gonna be on the stream anymore. But if not, I'll be back tomorrow and probably the day after that. I hope you guys have a lovely Friday and on to a fantastic weekend. Take care, okay? Bye.